Sean.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Lee, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
By the way, it's a pleasure
Welcome
to have
to
you
the
on.
show, Amber.
Thank you.
I keep telling you this, and hopefully you don't find me annoying, but I am very honored that I get to be your first podcast.
I am just super nervous, so thanks for having me and working with me.
So how did I pull this off?
I've decided I have to step out of my comfort zone.
Love it. Okay.
So that's why.
We had the chief operating officer for Fierce Fighting on.
Oh,
and
really?
He agreed to jump on our podcast too because Dana White from UFC was like, if you're going to promote your shit, you need to do it in all avenues.
Absolutely.
So one of his fighters I'm friends with, and he came on. And then it's been the snowball deal where I've had 3 different fighters on, plus him, plus more on the way.
That's awesome.
So
Good for you.
Anyway, how are you?
I'm so great.
Work today?
Yeah. I feel like I work every day. It's the joy of owning your own business, right?
Right. Well, I saw you on your social media. You posted your timeline for every day. Are you that good at following it?
I am on the weekdays for sure. Weekends, it's a little more lax.
So what's a typical weekend for you?
So normally I don't at least work in my clinic on the weekends. It's more administrative stuff. But weekends, right? My kid obviously gets to sleep in because he doesn't have to be up to go lift at 6 a.m. So the fact that he gets to sleep in lets me sleep in just a little bit. So I'm not up at 5:15. It's more 9, 10 a.m.
Are you to the point in your life where you're like, man, I slept in and it's 9:30? Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, I'm old. So I feel if I'm waking up at 9:30, I'm like, holy crap.
I'm still a kid. I could literally go till 12 or 1.
I wish I could. I mean, I guess maybe if I just made my room super dark and closed out all the noise, maybe I could. I don't know.
But see, I don't have kids though, so you have a responsibility that I don't have.
Luckily he is 17, right? So he's it was much worse when he was little, right? Because they wake you up at the crack of dawn.
Yeah, they're like little fucking puppies.
Yeah. So now he's 17, and he Saturday and Sunday are the only days he gets to sleep in as well. So he definitely doesn't wake me up, and he knows if I do sleep in past my normal time, he's like, okay, she must be real tired. This was a long week.
Mama's making that money, and she's a little tired.
Yeah.
You had that controversy
With him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I will never go on and talk shit like that. I think that whole thing was so blown out of proportion.
It really was. It still amazes me that it turned into what it did.
Did you get all the super Mormon LDS Karens DMing you how terrible you are?
Yeah. So when that reel was posted, right? I posted it at 7 p.m. or not 7 p.m. The game was at 7. I posted at 11 p.m. on a Thursday night. It had no trending audio, no trending hashtags, nothing. It was just a moment that was special between me and my kid. And at the time, my social media only had 1,500 followers, and I would dare say that I knew of the vast majority of them.
Right.
So a lot of people know, especially if they had been following me, my relationship with my kid, what had happened with my ex-husband, his father. And so posting it was just something for me. And then within a matter of, I don't know, a week, it just blew up. And so I went from 1,500 followers to 50,000 followers. And so my messages just, they're like an abyss. I don't even go into them. They're scary. I stay out of them.
That's why I did, when I reached out to you, I was like, I got to do this a whole different way.
You do, because people will tell me all the time, I messaged you, you didn't message me back. I'm there's probably 5,000 or 6,000 messages in my inbox right now that I'm never going to get to. So
I was actually telling Lee, because I've been following you for a while, and don't take this creepy, nothing like this at all. The type of business you do, it intrigues me because I've done it before.
Yeah.
But when we started this podcast, we wanted, an episode a week, 52 weeks. So we actually divided it by 2 just to kind of get a running head start on what we were trying to get. And I actually had your name up on the board. I'm like, I'm gonna get this girl.
That's sweet.
But
I'm flattered. Thank you.
well, yeah, I mean, because again, like, and we'll get into like what you actually do for work, your business, all that stuff too. But I knew if I was gonna go the route of asking you, if I did it through the DM deal, you wouldn't be here tonight.
No.
So I got cocky one night and I was like, boom.
I would rather I love when people reach out to me, right? Like, especially if people are being nice, like the ones that are being assholes, you cannot reach out to me, and I'm totally great with that. Like, keep it to yourself. So I would love to be able to get back to everybody who messages me, because a lot of times it is people like wanting to inquire about how to be a patient, or people just wanting to give like support and encouragement for what had happened with like me and my son in that reel. And initially I was trying to get back to people. My assistants were trying to help me, and it is just like,
It's too much.
it's too much. It's like someone needs a full-time job just to go through it.
Oh, I'm sure. And for all the guys that want to go do the clinic and instead just really want your attention because they have alternative motives.
Yeah, that's
And that's probably the majority of them as well.
yeah, that's where like I do get a little irritated by that, because so when the reel happened, I had to change a whole bunch of stuff. I had to change my personal cell phone number because it got leaked somewhere. I don't know how. And within a day, I had like 1,000 calls and text messages. So I've had to change my personal cell phone number. 2 of my email accounts were hacked. I had to change my clinic number. And obviously the clinic being like what I do for a career and like it's my business. Like I can't have people inquiring to try to like get to know me on a social level utilizing my business. Like, because then I can't get back to my patients.
But it's like a fucking stupid, weird way of doing it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like you're busy, you're running your own business. And I feel like people who like, when you do your videos regarding like whatever topic or post, they probably literally think you're just sitting there all day being like, oh, just wait for the next person to show up.
Yeah.
Like, guys, if you're really fucking interested in this, her information is on her Facebook.
Exactly.
Call and schedule an appointment.
Yes. And if you're going to, because I do, like initially my consultations for people to come in as a new patient are complimentary, just so I've always wanted to make sure that what somebody is looking for, that I'm a good fit for them. So I've always done like my initial appointment is just come in for 30 minutes, like meet with me, talk with me, make sure I am like what you want. Right. But when I was having,
there's a lot of guys out there that want you.
like,
you are what they
I should
want.
say, make sure I want you want from like a healthcare provider standpoint.
Okay.
But I did have like a handful of men who got onto my schedule to do a consultation like that, and the whole sole purpose was to be like, well, I think it's cool what you do, but I would now like to ask you to dinner. And I'm like, bro, you just took up like 30 minutes of my time that could have gone to somebody else.
Do you charge them for the consultation?
No, not initially.
I would charge them.
I mean, I know, right? I should be mean and be like, now that you just wasted 30 minutes of my time, you owe me.
Even if it's like $20 to come in and sit down and talk with you, it's like, at least you get something out of it, not just some fucking weirdo going that route.
Up until this like reel had happened in the entirety of my career, because I guess I've been doing this now almost 7 years. I had never charged for consultations, like in any clinic that I had been in. We always, I think, is like hormone specialists, right? It's not a new field, but it's definitely a newer field that people are just kind of starting to learn about and venture into. And so to make sure that a patient feels comfortable, like with the clinic, with the provider, is like actually wanting to go the route of functional medicine and like hormones themselves. Consultations have always been just like, come in, meet us, we'll chat about like your symptoms, goals, all those things. And so I've never charged anybody, because I, up until the last couple months, had never ran into people wanting to get on my schedule simply to like have a social visit. Like, I'm flattered, but I'm also really busy. So don't do that.
I mean, to me, it's common sense, but that's why I went the route I went, because I was like, fuck it. I'm going to throw shit at the wall, see what sticks. And if I get a response,
Literally.
Great. No, literally.
Literally.
If I get a response, great. If I don't, then whatever. Like, it's not even a big deal to me. Just move on to the next thing.
No, I'm glad you did. And yeah, I've said no to a lot of podcasts prior to this, but I talk to my patients about like obviously where we grow is where we are uncomfortable. So like getting uncomfortable in the discomfort. And if I'm going to like tell my patients this, I have to practice what I preach. So I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, you hate the camera, terrifies you, but like,
are you still nervous now though?
I mean, I feel like I will always be nervous in front. I don't know. Not as bad as I thought I would be. But even the videos I do and record and put up on my social media, I should probably put like bloopers up because it takes me probably like 20 times of recording myself before I finally like put a video up. So
we like here we do the podcast, but we kind of ventured into other things too. So Lee has a friend that he's a local hip hop guy. We're going to record his music video here locally.
Nice.
And he just bought one of those like DJI handheld, like selfie stick type things.
Okay.
So he's like, I'm the producer. I'm going to go film this. I'm going to do it based off my vision, but I want you to run the B-roll and you film me. So it's like an insight of like how it all works.
Okay.
And I'm like, Lee, this is why we're partners, dude. You're fucking awesome.
Lee, you are pretty great.
It's the reverse of what we're doing here. I'm filming him doing this, and then he's gonna be filming me doing that. So
I love this. You get like both sides of the coin.
Right.
It's great. It's a great idea.
I think you should start your own podcast too.
I've been told that like a lot. I've been asked for a podcast. Not as much as I've been asked for an OnlyFans, but close. Close. Those two things.
You're like onlyfans.com/Dr. Stabby. And all it is videos of you just shooting like testosterone dudes' asses.
I don't know if people would subscribe to that. I should do one just to see.
You would be surprised. So we had an OnlyFans model on here that I know personally. No, I did not sleep with her. She was a waitress at a bar I used to go to, and she ventured into that deal. And so we talked about all that, but there's some weird people out there.
Oh, yeah.
You got stories. Let's hear this. Yeah. Let's hear this.
No, I mean, there's just the stuff that I would get asked for. Like I said, before my social media took off, the people who would communicate with me through my messages, like I basically knew. So I wasn't getting a whole bunch of like random things coming into there.
Fucking weirdos.
Some of the stuff I've been asked for, like via message requests, I'm like, is this this can't be real. This is not a real thing.
So I have another friend who's a girl, and she applied for this job and she didn't get it. She was really crushed. And I said, let's do a science experiment. Because I love, comedy to me is when I actually go in and I start fucking with someone and they don't know I'm fucking with them. So I came up with this idea. I was like, well, let's do the OnlyFans deal and run with it and see, if it could make money. And she's like, well, what is it? And I go, well, just call it 2 nugs in a jar. She's like, what are the nugs? And I'm all, pieces of your number 2 in a jar, and we'll sell them. And I bet you will make money off of it.
It is like stuff like that you get asked for that I'm like.
What's the worst thing that someone's asked you?
The worst thing? I mean, I have been asked for something similar to that.
That's gross.
Right?
That was a joke on mine.
I know. That may have been the worst. Being asked,
send me your fecal matter.
Yeah. What? It's the stuff right? Panties and bras and a lock of your hair and feet
shavings
pics,
and clippings.
Where I'm like, this is kind of disturbing.
So dude that asked you for a turd, can you imagine if he was like the Jeffrey Dahmer of the turd world?
He just has them stacked in his
it's frozen. And then he's just
no, can't.
Snickers bark.
I can't because even though I practice medicine, it's the one area. It's the one organ system, one area, everything that I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that.
So I cannot, I don't do the number 2 at work. I try not to, because it's not like shit break from American Pie. It's actually totally opposite. What it is when I go into a bathroom and, have to tinkle.
Tinkle?
Yeah, I'll call it tinkle. And I smell someone else's shit, like I want to vomit.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Yes. I know my son will like drive home from school. Like,
oh, you see your son is shit break.
Yeah, he'll like drive home from school. He's like, I'm not like going in the bathroom at school.
Is he a junior?
He is a junior.
Brighton, right?
Brighton.
That's where my dad went to high school.
It is. It now looks much different than when your dad went to high school.
Did they redo it?
Oh yeah, it's like
Do they still have like the circle buildings?
Mm-mm.
No,
it's like it's when they're redoing kind of a lot of high school like, campuses right now. I say campus because they really do look like a campus. They don't look like.
Oh, I know.
When we went to high school, right? It's just like a building and.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to West Jordan.
Oh, so full disclosure, I know your ex-husband.
Oh, okay.
We were actually really good friends in high school. So.
Really?
Yeah, like I love that dude to death. And so when that whole thing went down, I was like crushed. I was like, oh my God.
It was.
Not to be a Debbie Downer on here, but like, anyway, I was there. I was at the viewing.
I feel like I was so distracted at the viewings. I was so, I was just worried about my kid, right? Like Bricks he was in Vegas at the time that it happened. So he didn't fly home until the morning of the viewing. So, and Bricks is not like he's not an emotional child, and doesn't like being the center of attention. It's why he loves football, right? Because there's 11 of he and his teammates on the field at a time, and so like it's not all eyes on him. He probably has the same fear that I do, of like being in front of a camera and public.
We should have got him on. We should have done the whole reenactment of the real.
He would actually come on and probably do a podcast because he talks about doing one with his friends all the time because they are seriously special children. But I feel like I was so worried at that viewing of like making sure he was okay and like not being bombarded that it is like one big blur to me.
That day that was your excuse day to just pop the Xanax like Skittles and just get through it.
It was, yeah. I mean, Trevor and I had been obviously divorced for like 10, 11 years. Something like that. Mm-hmm. He was my boyfriend in 5th grade, right? So I had known him since I was 12. So I can't even say get a call. I didn't get a call that he'd passed away. I was in clinic that morning, and so my phone at that time had always stayed like at my desk, so that when I was with patients, it wasn't with me. And I came out like probably 100 plus like notifications. My phone had blown up, and obviously my kid, like if there's ever anything from him, he gets like first priority. And I just had 2 text messages from him. He had called me twice, and he knows like when I'm at work, he's like, she's not gonna answer her phone. So he just sent me 2 text messages, one telling me to call Trevor's dad, and the second one just saying, Mom, Dad's dead. And it was like, it's the biggest punch in the gut. Like there's no. I can relate. So my mom passed away in 2014. I'm sorry.
So it's okay. Like I've got over that whole thing. You really don't realize how fucked up you are until you lose a parent. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Because that beast comes out. But anyway, I remember I was working at ATK up in Magna. Mm-hmm. We just got off a graveyard shift. And I was getting ready to crawl into bed. And my sister calls me. And she's just like, think of like Ron Burgundy in the telephone booth. Just, mess. Oh yeah. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? And finally, Mom's dead. And I remember hanging up, I said, okay, I'm on my way. Hanging up the phone and staring at the wall for like 20 minutes. Not realizing the magnitude of what's about to happen.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing like it.
Like I wish people, actually I don't wish anyone experiences that because I know exactly what you went through. But that shit changes you too.
It does. And I keep waiting for, he was only 15 at the time that happened. And so far, like that child is remarkable. Like he has not missed a beat. Like I was expecting him to kind of like fall apart at some point, like something to change, like school or sports or
drinking.
Like something was going to start like slacking somewhere. And he hasn't, like,
He pulled the other direction.
he is, yeah.
Good for him.
I do think football has a huge thing to do with that, right? Like, his team is obviously, like, his family, his coaches are like second dads to him. His best friend is remarkable, and his best friend's dad is kind of like, has always kind of been like Brixton's second dad, but now that his dad's not here, his best friend's dad definitely like fills that spot for him.
So now reenact the same reel with the best friend's dad and see how many of the weirdos go away.
I should ask Matt if he would do that with me, because
I'll film it.
like, obviously the people who all know me, right? Like, that whole thing happened on the football field, right? So I had hugged probably 5 other kids before I even got to my kid. Because his friends will obviously like hug me as they see me like walking out on the field. Like, I've known these kids since they were like 7, 8, and 9. So, and in football, you do really become like a family. Like, those kids practice so much. You do like so many events together. It takes a village to like make that team run, that you just see all these kids and like hug them, say hi to their parents. By the time I got to my kid, right, like, he just like,
The emotions took
he
off.
just hugged me and picked me up and like held me there. But all of the parents, like, his coach was standing 10 feet away from us. Like, other parents were standing next to us. Nobody that actually knows me or that was there and present ever thought, like, gave a second thought to like what was going on. Like, they were just like, it's just Hammer and Bricks. Like,
I feel like the people that bitched about it are the same ones that watch that kind of porn.
when people started like
They're like
making
jealous.
things about porn, I'm like, if your mind is going to a place where you see a son hugging his mom as like pornographic,
You're a fucking idiot.
you have issues. Like, you
Not only that though, but then just sprinkle in the Trevor thing.
exactly
Like that's why I was like, oh my hell. And then would you post, like, someone did it on the Super Bowl.
yeah.
And it was like a big middle finger, like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, it happens.
I mean, that I get sent stuff all the time of people being like, oh, here's this picture, here's this reel of like someone doing what like you and Bricks did. And I was like, there was not any trend of anything that nothing in my mind, like, because people would make comments like, oh, she just put it up for attention or this, that, and the other. I was like,
It was a special moment between you and your son.
that was it. And like
Like,
that was all it was. Like, I think as an only parent, and my like Bricks was wearing Trevor's death date like on his jersey for the first time on our home field, seeing him, just the emotion, like, I'm obviously all my kid has. And so if he wants to like hug me and pick me up and hold me and not put me down because he's a little bit emotional and doesn't want anyone to see it, so he's just kind of like bury his head into my neck and just like hold me for a second.
right.
What am I going to do? Be like, put me down?
No,
Or,
like,
it's my son.
it was a moment caught on camera. Like, you couldn't even, like, Lee, you couldn't even script that shit, bro. Like, I'm sure you still have it, right?
Oh yeah,
You got to show him after the show.
I will.
No, people are stupid. I'll tell you this quick story. I was in Newport a couple weeks ago. Was it a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
I feel like I'm just still recovering from that trip.
Sounds like a good one.
It was a quick one. So we filmed on a Friday night, and then by the time I got home, it was 1:30, 2 in the morning, and I got 3 hours of sleep, jumped on a plane, flew into John Wayne, hung out in Newport all day, then went to a Kings game, lots of drinking. And I'm not, I actually cut back. Like, so what I was drinking was like really fucking me up. And then got back to the hotel room. There was a little argument that had happened, and I won't go into details, but Aaron, who is a good friend of mine, lives in Newport. I still love you. I'm not mad at you about the argument. But he got mad at me because I said, he was talking about something. I can't even remember what the details were, but I just said, have you just tried staying in your lane? Not a good idea to tell people that when you're drunk. Luckily, we handled it like men. There was no fist fighting or anything. He ended up going home, and then like 2 weeks or a week later, he's like, do you still have PTSD from coming down to Newport? And I was like, no, like, I love you guys. I'm just giving you space to do your deal. And he's just like, okay. But anyway, gist of the story is,
Stay in your lane.
thank you.
Yeah. I tell people that all the time. Like, I am very...
I knew I liked you.
Yeah.
I knew I liked you.
It is one of those things where I'm like, honest, like, if you don't have anything nice to say to anybody, you really don't need to say anything at all. Like, I'm pretty sure Bambi taught us that with, like, Thumper. I don't know. Maybe we need to go back to Disney movies. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't... There are plenty of things that I can see going on, and if it does not directly affect my life, I don't need to say shit.
Right.
Because it doesn't have any bearing on my day-to-day. Like, when people wanted to say stuff about my clothes or, like, wearing high heels at a football game, I'm like, I'm not playing football.
Well, not only that, though, but you like to look good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Apparently, when you're a mom, there's, like, a manual somewhere that I missed. Like, they didn't give it to me in the hospital. It was like, once you have a kid, you're supposed to just, like, let yourself go to hell. Like, stop getting ready. Stop, like, taking care of yourself.
I think you should just stop working out, gain like 200 pounds, and then no one will say shit to you other than like, oh my God, Amber's fell off. Then it turns the opposite way.
I know, right?
It's so stupid.
That is something that I do wish more people understood. I posted a video on my social media about this, right? Where I find it very hypocritical that we live in a society where if you are to attack somebody for being overweight or what you think is ugly or whatever, that if you were to do that publicly, like what was done to me, you would get torn apart for like coming on and saying like, you can't go call people fat. You can't go call people ugly. Like, that's not appropriate. But on the other side, you can find somebody who maybe is like skinny or pretty or whatever and go attack them for looking the way that they look. Like, it's the same. It's
the pedestal.
Yeah.
And it's stupid because, like, here's another science experiment we should do. You and I will do a video. I'll be the guinea pig. And you'll be like, okay, this fat fuck right here is going to get on hormone replacement therapy. And, like, you could totally dog me and I'll play along the whole thing. And we'll see what happens.
And just see what people come out and say.
Oh,
like,
she is just so stuck up. And,
I know.
Oh, my God, who does she think she is?
Right? I just...
Like, you can't win.
You can't. And I've always known that in my life. Like, this reel was not like the first time I've had people make like judgmental comments towards me. It was definitely the most in one place at one time. It's odd that it started out as like the people who were commenting on it were super judgmental initially and like attacking me. And then after about a week, it slowly turned to people wanting to come on and like support me and stand up for me.
They're like, we called her a dirty little bitch, but we support her now.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Like,
there has been some of that. But there's been a lot of people that have actually gone on to that reel and made comments like in support of Brixton and I, where they're like, this is just a mom and her kid, like leave them alone.
Right.
So I have gotten a lot of encouragement out of it. There's been great people that have like reached out to me. I am a firm believer in that if you see something and it triggers you enough that it elicits that negative of a response, I've now opened up some like deep, deep wound in you that like you need to go deal with. Like, this is not a me issue. This is a you issue. Yeah. And now that it's been brought to light, like, go fix it, heal, be a better person.
Right. Like, or stay in your lane.
Or stay in your lane and shut the fuck up.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you for saying the F word. I'm over here, fuck this and fuck that. And then finally I get one out of you.
Oh, I definitely, so it's because I'm trying to like mind my manners.
Don't let it, I'm telling you, like the last text message I sent you, let your hair down and be funny.
No, I definitely have like the mouth of a sailor. Like my dad, if you were to ask Brixton, he's known since he was like a baby. Like, what's Grandpa Brian's favorite word? He'll be like, the F word. Like now he just says it's fuck. I'm like, cool. My 17-year-old just like, he definitely doesn't have a filter around me. I guess the other day, he's now running track, right? Because he has to run track in the spring because they have to do something in the off season. He hates track, so I love that he's running it. But he like rolled his ankle or something, and as he was like,
you're like, stop being a pussy.
He said something under his breath, I guess, where he was like, God fucking damn it. But he said it enough where the female track coach could hear him. So one track coach is his football coach, and so there's like no filter between them, right? But the other one is this female coach that is mainly coaching girls track, but they work out together. So the female coach was like, does your mom know that you talk like that? Does she let you talk like that at home?
He's like, yeah, I pick her up and they take pictures and I kiss her on the mouth with it too.
Brixton's like, you can call her. Like, it's probably not going to go well for you, but yeah, where do you think I learned it? I'm like, Brix, damn it.
What would you do if that track coach was like, for all transgender women, I am truly offended? Like, what would you do?
Again, this is a thing for me, and this is probably not politically correct, but like, I don't feel like it's my responsibility to coddle your feelings. Like, if you're offended by something, that's like, that truly is your issue. Like,
the response you give is, come by my office. We'll get you some testosterone or we'll get you some estrogen.
Something, right? Like, it can help balance your hormones, but
Your 5 o'clock's coming and you need to come see me.
seriously, I have a hard time when people want to be offended by everything these days. And it's like,
I know. It's like, where's your balls?
I know.
Like,
It's really sad.
so I think you and I are either close to the same age or the same age. I'm 38. I'll be 39 next month.
Yep.
And I remember growing up not ever having to deal with this.
Right?
And bullies were great because bullies would pretty much kind of keep you in your lane.
Yeah.
And then when you were ready to, play Rudy, you'd punch them in the face and then they'd end up being your best friends.
Exactly.
And nowadays it's like, no, you got safe space and they want to talk about their fucking feelings all the time. And it's just like, oh my God, you guys are pussifying the youth.
It's a lot. It's a lot, especially with like young males. It's a lot.
It is.
Luckily, my kid has, I do believe that like football does so much for young men,
So I grew up playing football, so I know 100%.
right? There's just something about like the dynamic of that game, like that is so different than any other sport.
So I'm going to drop some names. I'm not going to say last names, but like Clayton. I grew up playing football with him.
Yeah.
Brandon.
Yes.
You probably don't know. You might. Mike.
There's so many mics.
We used to call him Stifler because his mom was hot. Which is probably what your son's friends call you or call him.
I should ask him that.
You should.
I should.
Put him on the spot. Be like, hey, be honest with me. You're not in trouble.
I feel like he would tell me that. Those boys are at my house all the time. I mean, I think I feed like 5 of them every single lunch period. Like my fridge is just stocked and they come home and eat my food and go back to school.
Do you have the party house?
They don't necessarily party, but they definitely hang out there a lot.
Do kids in high school still drink? That was such a big deal for us.
I don't. So these kids don't, but I think
Really?
a lot of that does come down to if their football coach caught them, they would be like, they are scared of him.
See, our football coach didn't care.
Oh, see, his coaches, and it's not just like one coach, right? I swear there's like 18 coaches that coach these kids, and they are all very, like,
In their
they're very
lives.
strict, and they are very much in their lives, and they are like checking on them all the time, which I appreciate, but it does keep them in their lane where
That's
they're
good.
like, if they go to a party and there's like drugs and alcohol, they leave. So like, there's no way that we're going to let coach like find out anything happen. Like he
Right.
will murder us.
That's cool, though. I wish I had that kind of. No, actually, I don't. It's a lot. I had a dad, or I have a dad, but he was like, I'm the oldest, so I was the guinea pig for everything. So I had the midnight curfew. I got my ass kicked when he found out I was drinking at a party. And then my brothers, 2 years younger than me, had the 2 a.m. curfew and got into a whole bunch of shit that has been bad. So I'm like, why? You literally drew the blueprint.
With you, and then
All you had to do was execute it.
keep following it with the other ones.
That's all you had to do.
Yeah.
No, the funny part is I ended up marrying my high school sweetheart. And when we were seniors, we were living in this condo in West Jordan. You know Ochre Shadows?
Mm-hmm.
So, like Tuscany and then the other one?
Yep.
Brittany. So
Yeah.
we were in Brittany.
Okay.
And my dad was dating this girl who they sold her house, and the 3 boys moved in with me and my brother. And she was really cool, but I didn't really like her. But anyway, that's a different deal. But she would always do our laundry. I thought it was the greatest thing ever because I hate doing laundry. Even to this day, I hate doing it.
So I posted something the other day and on it said, right, that I was still doing Brixton's laundry. And the comments I got back from people like, he's 17, he should be doing his own laundry. What are you doing? Like, you have to teach him something. I'm like, okay.
His focus is
like,
somewhere else.
Let me clarify. My kid knows how to do his own laundry. My kid knows how to like make his own food.
Mm-hmm.
I've taught him all the things. Like, he's grown up with basically a single mom for most of his life, even when his dad was around. He's been with me like 90% of the time. So he knows how to do all the shit. It's not that he's incapable. It's that I had a very unconventional high school life and I had to grow up very, very quickly and didn't, while I cheered and like got good grades and like high school was great, like my childhood was it was very different than a lot of people's.
So you grew up faster than most people.
I grew up super fast. Like my mom left when I was 13, and then I have 2 younger brothers. And so it was a very, very quick reality check. So I think I'm probably healing like my own childhood trauma through my kid, where I want him to be able to focus on being a kid. Mm-hmm. So if I can get up and like do my job as a mom in terms of like making him like a healthy breakfast before he goes and lifts weights for an hour, and like making sure there's a healthy lunch for him to come home to, and his laundry's done so he doesn't have to worry about it because he's lifting from 6 to 7 a.m. He's going to school all day. He's running track from 3 to 5. He has homework to do.
He's a straight A student though, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, if I can do his laundry, like I'm his mom.
Right.
It's not that he doesn't know how. I just think like, okay, I just want to be able to focus on like, be a kid, have fun, go to school, play sports, get good grades.
Yeah. Just
don't worry about things.
Right. Your son has 3 routes in life: Navy SEAL, college football player, or I'll teach him how to podcast.
He is so witty. Like, he keeps me on my toes so much. That kid would actually be like, I think, hilarious on a podcast.
I have him come on.
He would.
I want to hear all the high school stories because a while back I had a dog, and I remember growing up, there was parks everywhere, and that's not the thing anymore.
Nope.
And so I happened to be driving by Copper Hills looking for just a fucking park, not even a dog park, just a park.
Just a park.
And the kids were getting out of school. And I was like, who the fuck are these kids? They got Pokemon shirts on them. Like, hell no. We didn't look like that back in high school. And then I pulled up a high school picture. I was like, holy shit, we did.
Oh,
they're babies.
They are babies. But if you come to some, like, the high school football games always surprise me, right? Like, my kid is not little.
I'll tell you this, East Side kids are different than West Side kids.
He has an East Side kid, which I was a West Side kid, so it's very different for me. Right?
Like, I feel like we made it out of the West Side deal.
Yeah, it's very different. But some of, like, even the girls walking around at high school football games, I'm like, people are coming at me for what I was wearing. I'm like, these girls are running around in, like, crop tops and, like, full contoured makeup. I'm like, you guys were supposed to go through, like, a generational transitional area where you're supposed to wear, like, the blue eyeliner and pluck your eyebrows too thin and, like, not know how to do your makeup. Like, no, some of these girls, like, running around in high school look like they're 18, 19 years old.
That's because their moms are like plastic Barbie. And so they, you know what I mean?
Could be. I'm just like, holy crap. Like, I did not look like that in high school. Like, I was.
Oh, you posted your picture of your broken leg.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, who the fuck is that?
I know. I was 23 in that picture.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what I was going to say was, as this woman's doing laundry, a condom comes out of my pocket. And I'm in the kitchen watching this happen, and I start laughing, and my dad's like, that's not funny. I'm not ready to be a grandparent.
At least I'm using condoms.
Yeah, that's why I said, at least we're using protection. 20 years later, still doesn't have a kid from me.
Oh, now he probably wants one.
There's the childhood trauma.
I was 21 when I had Brick, so.
At least you weren't 16.
It's true. I don't know what I would have done, but because I was so young, right? Like, Bricks and I have had talks about, like, sex, and obviously in a step-by-step time frame for him, but we've probably talked about, like, sex, the body since he was 9 or 10. Like, it obviously started off very, like, innocent and age appropriate, and now at 17, the conversations that happen in my house with, like, 5 or 6 football players, and I'm like, I can't.
You're like at 38, I'm not even doing that.
I'm like, I don't even want to listen to you guys. Like and like the odd thing is like, they have no filter around me, which I actually love. Like, I love that they're so comfortable that they can just come over and like be themselves. And like, they know I'm not going to judge them for anything that they say or do. But like, guys, there are some things I really don't want or need to hear.
At least you're not like the mom from Mean Girls. Like, you know, you hear like them going at it and you're like, do you need a towel? Like, you know.
I'm like, you're
like, put a sock on your door.
Like, they know, because like there's a lot of times they have like free reign of my house. Like when I go out of town.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you definitely have the party house then. It's controlled.
The thing is, like, these kids really are so respectful. Like, I'm always surprised because I initially was worried, like, yes, if I leave my house and leave teenagers in it, like, what the hell's going to happen? But they know that there are rules where I'm like, okay, if I'm leaving, like, what are the rules? They're like, don't break anything, don't burn the house down, don't have sex in your house, and definitely not in your bed. And I'm like, thank you. That's all I ask. Like, I know you guys, like, the logical side of my brain, right, works far more than any other side of my brain. So, like, the mom side of me, like the emotional mom side, wants to be like, you guys are all going to wait until you're like 30 and married, and like that's going to be the first time that you like experience sex. And like the logical side of me is like, I practice hormones for a living. Like, I'm trying to get most men back to, or even as close to like where you guys are functioning at on a daily basis. So I'm very aware of what's likely going through your mind and like the things that you guys are doing. Just, I don't necessarily condone it because you guys are making adult choices that I don't think you know the consequences to fully. But regardless, if you're going to do it, just be responsible. It's like, if a condom's going to fall out somewhere, I'm actually going to like high five you and be like, thank you for at least like having protection with you.
You should have a jar of just like Plan B.
There's actually like, I've had bricks, like,
really
Amazon condoms to my house for like, it kind of was like as a joke, but not really. But
it's like, Mom, it's Sadie's Hawkins.
But it's like,
girl asked me
to be like, hey, well, okay, this is why it happened. Like one night, these 5 kids are sitting around my house, right, talking, and no filters with any of them. And one of them proceeds to say how they didn't have a condom. And so when they had sex with some girl, it was that they used a grocery bag and a hair tie. And I was like, okay. I'm sorry. Back the fuck up. What did you just say?
You should have told them that's how you get gonorrhea, like, just to fuck with them.
I was like, a grocery sack? Like, you don't even know where that's been.
Right.
Besides the fact, like, it's like a grocery sack and a hair tie does not a condom make. That is not what you use. That is not what you do.
No.
Like, I'm like, you need to go tell your parents what's going on. I can't. They're Mormon. They'll kick me out of the house. Like, the whole thing. So you need to buy condoms. I can't. They'll see it, like, on my debit card charge.
What would you do if these, like, you know, you're like, what did you guys use for lube? He's like, oh, Crisco.
Oh my God. I honestly, I wouldn't put it past them. This is like, their brains are so underdeveloped. God bless them.
Well, you know, men's brains don't develop till we're like 25.
I think it's like 40, but we'll say 25.
I probably agree with that. I'm 38. I still feel a little dumb, but.
I remember I just looked at Brixton as this story was being told, and it was like, get on Amazon and order a box of condoms to the house right now. And his friends like looked at him and they're like, is she serious? And he's like, yeah, she's serious. Like, she would rather have you guys like know that there's protection here than do something like that or not be protected at all. So like, that's the conversation I've always had with him. Like, while he is not sexually active at 17, which I appreciate, he has friends that obviously are, and they talk about it. And so I'm like, listen, if they're not going to go buy condoms on their own, if they're not going to talk to their parents, which is always going to be the first thing I'm going to say is like, even as a healthcare provider, if like a younger patient tells me, right, that they're being sexually active, it's always, you need to go talk to your parents. A lot of them won't because they don't feel comfortable. But if I can at least be an avenue to say, hey, there's protection at my house, just so you don't get an STD or an STI, or you don't get somebody pregnant, like, then I'll be that place. Like, I don't condone it. I'm not telling you guys to go do it. But if you're going to, don't use a grocery sack and a hair tie.
So remember and tell your son this when you see him tonight or tomorrow. Don't make the same mistake I did. Buy lubricated condoms because it is a muscle and it does tear. Now, mine didn't tear, but boy, oh boy, did I feel like that motherfucker broke a couple times. And I hated my ex girlfriend/wife for it. Like it was not fun. We eventually got out of that. Still don't know how I don't have any kids, but
I mean, they're great. I would always encourage people to like at least have one. I mean, I had one and was done, and I'm like that. He tried to kill me while I was pregnant with him. So
I feel like the guys at my work that report to me, I mean, technically I'd have like 52 children because they're grown ass men and still act like fucking children. So I think I'm okay.
Try having my job. You have 52 of them. I manage like 400 patients, 80% of which are men.
Of the 80%, who has actually hit on you?
Most of my patients are actually like my actual patients are really, really respectful.
That's
like
good.
super
Because
respectful.
they need help.
Yeah.
They draw the line.
So they don't, well, are they like super sweet and will bring me like treats if they know I'm like had like a hard week, or will bring me like coffee or whatever.
They're like, you bring me pain. Here's a coffee.
Seriously. Like, but none of them have like actually, none of my patients have like actually hit on me. Well, they like make comments and tell me like, I look nice or I'm pretty or whatever. Yes. But like cross any boundaries and like hit on me.
Right.
No.
Can I be I want to be the buffer between the guys that like are coming in for the consultations.
Oh, you want me to send them to you first?
Yeah, like let's write a questionnaire, and then like the very bottom one is like, is this a fucking joke? Or are you really trying to just hit on Amber?
I'm here for it. If someone wants to
do
screen them before they get to me, that'd be great.
I don't even want to be paid for it. I'm gonna record it all though.
Do it.
And like phone calls, we'll do FaceTime, like the whole nine.
Do it. No,
you good with that?
Yeah. Someone wants to like screen people before they get to me.
Lee, you in? I need your help.
I got you.
I can't operate a camera. I'm just here for the
Screen them, I'll record it.
I'm here for the comedic relief.
I would actually love that. I think you'd probably get some fun stories out of it.
Oh yeah. But then you wouldn't get the fuckers.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
Are you?
Yeah.
You have a business partner, don't you?
Not right now. Right now it's just me. So I did initially, and it didn't work out.
If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
No, it didn't work out. So we just went like our separate ways. So.
Did you have to buy her out?
Mm-mm.
No? She just like, fuck it, I'm done?
Yeah. So we just like cut ties and went our separate ways.
Wow. You got lucky.
Well, I mean, I am like, unfortunately that clinic doesn't run without my medical license. So it's like.
Was she piggybacking off that?
She was there more as like an assistant office manager, like that kind of thing. So there wasn't really much choice in terms of like walking away, because without me, like it can't.
Right. You are the center of it all.
Like nothing can happen with it. Right. So had it been another provider, it would have been different, but it wasn't. So it was just kind of like, this is my thing. I'm the one that has to take care of the patients. I'm just going to do it on my own. So,
are you looking to get another business partner? I don't know anyone. I'm just
not
curious.
A business partner per se. I do need to find more assistants, or I need to clone myself.
Hire Vanessa.
Like I could. I'm having the hardest time trying to like navigate between
work and.
Do I do like because I also need like a personal assistant. Like my life is so busy that I don't have time just to do like a lot of normal day-to-day stuff. Like I just realized the other day, like it's March, right? And I'm like, I have to get stuff ready to like do my taxes. Like shit. Like it's things like this, or like drop off my dry cleaning, or I have like 10 pairs of shoes in the back of my car right now that I need to take to the cobbler and have like the heels on them fixed. Like it's like shit that I'm like, when am I ever going to get that done?
Wait, cobbler? Is this a real thing?
Yeah. Like, right?
I don't know. I don't know what a cobbler is. This is brand new to me.
They like, so when the little heeled part of like your high heel decides to like wear itself out and fall off, and like you have to go get them.
They literally reshoe you like a horse.
Yeah, like
for
they
the shoe
fix,
though.
like the sole of the shoe.
Get the really?
Actually, so I ruined a pair of red bottoms in Vegas. Like ruined them.
That's a high end shoe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like one I did not want to ruin. Like
more than Louis.
So they're Louboutins. Like
you're speaking Spanish.
You don't listen to Cardi B, man.
No, I don't.
I mean, they're like a $900 pair of shoes, right? Like not ones that you want to ruin. Okay. And I fucked them up like bad. It was raining. I was in like all the things that you should not do in them, I did. So.
Did you like break the hill too?
Like, yeah, so the hills broke. It's like, I thought they were a lost cause. And then I was in the Louboutin store in Caesar's Palace and said something to the cute little, what would she be?
Like a front office person.
Yeah, like
cashier.
Yeah, about ruining them. And she was like, oh, here's like this card for like this cobbler that's in California. And I was like, I love that you still say the word cobbler because I do. And people sometimes are like, what the hell are you talking about? She's like, yeah, he like specializes just in like red bottoms. He'll fix them for you. They'll be like brand new again. She's like, send them. So yes, cobblers are a thing. And they're like our specific ones that we'll just do like.
This is all
shoes.
brand new to me. Like I feel like we need to go in the cobbler business, Lee.
Yeah. So you just like resole the whole shoe. So they're like
we'll get good with magic markers and shit.
I mean, listen, especially shoes like that. Like when you spend a lot of money on shoes.
Yeah.
You want someone that can, if they do get worn out, can fix them.
My aunt, love her to death. Haven't talked to her in forever. I guess she's a big fan of the show. I just found that out, which is cool. She is like a Nordstrom's chick every damn day.
Yeah, it's a great store.
But every day though. And it's not just like $40-$50. It's like $500-$600.
Listen, I'm not here to judge.
If you got it, spend
I had a
it.
shopping problem, so me and your aunt should be friends.
She's actually moving. I think she's moving to California. She's in Maryland right now.
We should be shopping friends.
My uncle, I won't mention the hotel chain, but he's the CEO of a larger one.
Nice. See, so she's loving Nordies.
She would love you.
Yeah, we should be friends.
I guarantee it.
Anyone who wants to shop, although right now I still am on this whole like no shopping spree until I wear everything that's in my closet. I think I'm like 6 weeks in and I'm so close to like getting through everything and like
I could just imagine you being like the age of 45 and still not got through all your shit.
No, I'm like, yeah, I do have a shopping problem. So I would love to be your aunt's friend because I will definitely shop with her.
She's got the black card.
Yeah, see, we'll be buddies. This could be a bad thing though. This could be like a not great relationship.
So what will happen though is I will arrange this to where you guys are best friends. And anytime you're in California or she, God forbid, comes to Utah, you guys can go shopping. The one thing she's going to do, and damn it, Stacy, don't fucking do this. She'll be like, so are you interested in Sean? You remind me of his ex-wife. She loved my ex-wife. And I'm like, if she ever did that, I'd be like, oh my God.
Oh, she's just trying to like look out for your happiness, right?
Yeah, but like that's funny you say that. I was telling Lee the other day, I don't think I've ever been happier in my entire life.
Being single?
I've been single for a long time, but I don't date either. So I'm not like I'm not like the whole, Netflix and chill or whatever the fuck they call it now. I don't do any of that.
I think when you can find true happiness in being single, it's like a whole new level of like, it's just opened up, right? This is like opening up like the bonus level on like Mario World. Like
yeah.
A whole new,
I love that you said that. I don't even play video games anymore, but I love that you said that.
I don't like Mario was my jam back in the day, right? Like when you got like.
You ever get drunk and play Mario?
Yes. When you'd get to open up new levels, like it was a whole new world. It was so great.
Like the blue and yellow Yoshis.
Mm-hmm.
And all, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's what like being single is when you finally get to a place where you're happy doing it, right? This is the longest I've ever been single in my entire life.
How long have you been single?
16 months.
Wow.
The longest ever. Like
you're just barely getting started.
No
joke. I think I'm going on like 7 years.
The like hard thing for me is now that I have though, I'm so happy and content with my life and myself that.
Why do you want to deal with someone else's bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel.
Like it's gonna take someone like really extraordinary because I am in a place where I'm like my kid is great, my career is fantastic, I'm happy, my friends are good. Like I've provided everything in my life that I need for myself.
Oh, you built an empire.
So until someone can come in and like add something of some like substantial value,
mm-hmm.
which is really going to be for me like a sense of like peace and calmness, like I don't want to do drama. I don't want to do confrontation. I don't want to deal with shit. I just want like an adult trusting relationship. And until that can happen, I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm so good.
What you will find is most guys don't know how to do that.
Oh, I have found that.
Have you?
In my past relationships and in the like handful of people I've attempted to date.
Okay.
That's exactly what I found.
I always like imagine like if I'm gonna actually date someone and has nothing to do with the physical features, is like me and Lee are kind of building our own little media empire. Well, me, Lee, and Jaden. Jaden does our audio video editing.
Shout out to Jaden.
Yeah.
Jaden.
I got to be able to do this. This is my like therapy. And like if you're texting me every 5 minutes, like asking me when I'm going to be done, that's a no-fly zone.
Oh yeah, can't do that.
And then in the warm months, Sunday's golf day.
I love that for you.
So like I'm like don't like we like Lee, we have what, early tea time Sundays?
Right. Yeah.
We were like 7 a.m. Get done by like 12 or 1. We go have lunch and then we all go our separate ways. But like for me, like what a healthy relationship would be is like you have your life over here and I have my life over here.
And we have a life together.
Correct. But it's like Ghostbusters. You don't cross the streams.
No. And it's so, I don't know why it's so hard for people to do that. For me, I can't have someone that's going to text me all day long, right? Like,
sorry if I did that to you, by the way.
No, you didn't. No, I'm talking like I've had relationships
I'm joking.
where, like I've had relationships where people like are messaging me like, every hour, like, how's your day? What are you doing? Like, I am so busy at work that there may be times I don't see your text message until like the end of my day. And there are definitely plenty of days that I look down at my phone and there's 60 text messages on it because I've been with patients all day long, like
right.
No time to even like freaking go to the bathroom and pee. Like I'm so busy. And I've had relationships where people get irritated that, well, I've texted you, you're not responding. Like, I am fucking busy. I don't know what you're doing all day long, but like I am with other individuals, like
they're
in front of them.
They're like, I'm having a beer playing Mario.
Seriously. Like, I'm like, I would love to be doing that.
Right.
But I'm doing my job. I can't do that. I can't have someone that's like bombarding me. I can't like have someone that wants all of my time because I very much enjoy my alone time.
Yep.
Like my brain goes nonstop literally all day. Even once I get off work, like it doesn't ever stop. And so there are times that I need just like 20 minutes to just like decompress, to where like Bricks knows when I walk in the house, especially if it's been a long day, where he can like now sense it out, where he's like, okay, she needs a minute. I'm not going to say anything to her for about half an hour. Like,
he walks up to you. What's the square root of 164? Damn it, Brixton. I just walked in the fucking door.
Seriously, there are times like, and he is just, I love that he's learned me well enough that if he does like approach me right when I get home and I'm like, dude, he's like, it was a day. I'm going to leave you alone for a minute. But I can't get grown adult men to like do this.
I'll tell you this metaphor that I have, because I'm the same way. Like my phone does not stop going off from 6:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night, 365 days a year. Mm-hmm. Like there's even times when Lee will call me at like 7 and I don't answer the phone. And it's not because I'm ignoring him. It's because I went so hard in the paint that I'm actually passed the fuck out now. Yeah. So,
yep.
But anyway, like if men adopted this metaphor, women are like cats. If you run up to a cat, it's going to run away. Mm-hmm. If you leave that fucking cat alone, that cat will come jump on your lap when it needs attention.
Right.
It's not that hard.
It is really difficult I don't know.
I had to learn that the hard way though.
And I don't know if maybe it's just, I hate to say this, but like guys in Utah, I don't know. I've not found a whole lot of
potential.
Yeah. Like I haven't found a whole lot in the dating pool that's worthwhile.
I would tell you this little thing right here has ruined everyone.
Oh, I agree with that 100%.
Because you can stay connected with someone literally in real time. Yeah. Like back in the day, like they'd have to call your like office phone.
Yep.
And you know you weren't going to answer that. So they had to wait. But like, I have people that work for me where like they will talk to their significant other 5 or 6 times on the phone, plus text them all day.
I honestly would pull my hair out.
I'm like, guys, use work to be the escape to get away.
Yeah. I couldn't.
And then I ask them, you just got to work and your wife's calling you. What the fuck possibly could have happened from the time you left your house to the time you pulled into the parking lot?
Right? Like, yeah.
Like I've actually told women, I love science experiments. So there was this one girl I was interested in for like a quick second because she totally just turned me off with being bombarded with text messages. I flat out told her, I will not text you during work. You will not hear from me. It's not because I don't like you. It's not because I'm playing mind games. It's not because I'm fucking with you. It's because my attention and my priority is with what I'm doing at that moment.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, but what I do for a living is a lot more important than your, hey, how's your day text message.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's super sweet, right? If someone wants to like check in on you, like, thank you. And if I can respond, I will. But there are days.
Shouldn't get mad when you don't respond, though.
Yes. And those are I've dealt with people, I'm like men and women, right? But obviously I date men. I've dealt with men that just can't.
You can date women. They're probably just as worse, though.
I mean, I said the other day that I think at this point I just need a wife, like, because I just need someone that can, pick up the slack, like be another me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to have to be like a wife, not a boyfriend or a husband to like do that. And then I don't really want a wife. I just need I need help. Like I need some help in my life. But I think men and women can both obviously be a little like crazy, if you will, when it comes to relationships. And I do think as a female, I'm definitely different than a lot of other females. Like I'm not highly emotional, which is hard for a lot of guys. Like,
do you know who Gordon Gekko is?
No.
You ever seen the movie Wall Street?
Not Wolf of Wall Street, right? Just Wall Street? No.
Wolf of Wall Street was me years ago.
No, I haven't.
No. So anyway, you remind me of Gordon Gekko. He's the top dog, the boss. He's on the phone all the time. Doesn't have a minute for anyone. Gets off work, still on the phone, still doing your deal. It's a 24-hour deal.
It is.
And people don't realize that. I mean, you have your own business. It's not like you're working at a clinic.
No.
Or at a hospital. This is your baby.
Yes. Like, this is my thing.
Right.
It's where my attention goes to, 100% of my attention goes to 2 places. And it's either my clinic or my son. So to try and fit something else into that, while would it be nice to be able to have, a very adult, healthy, normal relationship? Sure. But I won't do the bombardment of text messages. I won't do the
Have you met someone and felt like, oh, this could be something, and then they love bomb you and you're like, I'm out?
Yes.
That is so, number one, that's fucked up to do to someone. Because everyone moves at a different pace when it comes to relationships. Me, I'm the snail you see in the morning in the spring. I'm barely moving. My thing doesn't move at all. It takes so much time for me to get emotionally engaged because of what I do during the day and then everything that we do at night.
It's hard when you're busy, and it's hard to
it
is definitely hard to fit it in. And I think it's even more difficult when you feel like you're disappointing somebody because you're not able to fit them in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you can tell that they're getting disappointed in the fact that you don't have enough time for them. And then I feel bad. And so I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. And so it's probably just better to not do this at all. I know that I'm my brothers joke all the time that they're it's going to take somebody at this point now that I've been single. It's going to take somebody that is very, very secure in themselves, confident in themselves as a man, and has a strong personality, one that is maybe just as strong as yours, to handle you.
Right.
Because I'm not going to give you 100% of my attention. I will when we're together,
right.
Spending time together. But outside of that, I have too much shit to do. I posted my schedule. I'm up from 5:15 in the morning until 11:30 at night. Like, I go non-stop.
So I'm 4:30, but I hit snooze till 5:30. Just so you know, like that's my deal. And then I still I wake up in the morning and feel like I have, 25% cerebral palsy. Like I'm not a morning person, but I have to do it.
Like you're just trying to get the brain to turn on.
No, it's everything.
Like just everything.
It's everything. There's days I have to army crawl out of bed just to get into the shower.
All right, that probably does mean we need to check your hormones. You shouldn't be feeling like that.
Oh no, we can have we can talk about that. I'll tell you right now, I've done 3 rounds of testosterone and HCG with a different clinic. And number one, that shit's super fucking expensive. So it's not like I can afford it every damn week they charge it. But I also know there's clinics out there that like to rip people off. So I can already tell by the smile on your face. The first time I went, I got my blood drawn, and they came back 2 or 3 days later, and I get a call from one of the nurses practitioners, and they're like, "Yeah, you need to come in. We need to talk to you." I was like, "What?" No, it's not something we want to discuss over the phone. So I'm thinking I have prostate cancer.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Because my grandpa had it. So then I go to the clinic. I'm like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Do you see this number right here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "How old are you?" And I think I was 31 at the time. And he's like, "Your levels are of the levels of a 70-year-old man. You need to get on this right away." And so I did it, and I was perfect for 4 or 5 months, and I never felt greater in my entire life. And then I was living out in, I think, West Jordan, and I didn't want to drive out to Draper anymore. Now I live in Draper, and literally this clinic is less than 5 minutes away from me, and I still don't go.
I think I probably know the clinic you go to.
I'll say it. It's Ageless Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't ever like to rip on other clinics.
You don't have to, but we'll talk pricing when we're done with this one.
Yeah, I don't ever like to other people are doing their thing, great. I am not doing what I do to actually make money. I swear.
You're doing it because you care.
Yes. So I get told every day by multiple people, between patients, the people that I work with, you have to raise your prices. What are you doing? And I worked in medicine since I was 16. I don't know anything different. This has been my entire life for 22 years. I always knew I would work in medicine. There was never a question in my mind. I was at one point going to go to med school, and then I went to PA school instead. And that's a whole nother story as to why. But my whole purpose in this life, I swear, besides being a mom, is to give people access to healthcare that's affordable and that actually makes a difference.
Well, the money comes.
The money will always come.
You have 400 patients, so you're quantity over pricing.
Yeah, the money will always come, but it's not. I don't do what I do for profit. I do what I do because I genuinely care about helping other people be healthier and feel better. I'm a bleeding heart. If I could treat the entire world for free, I would. If I was just a billionaire, if I had Elon Musk money and did what I do, I would treat everybody for free.
We need to get you on the UN tour.
Seriously, I don't want money from anyone. Just come in. I will take care of all of your stuff because I am passionate about what I do and what it does for other people. And I do have a hard time when other clinics are charging just asinine amounts of money and doing really shitty jobs as well.
So they have 2 different pay deals. And again, this is over from 31 to 38, 3 different times. The last time I went there, they were $75 a week. I mean, it's $300 a month. I make damn good money just on my own, but I don't want to fork out $300 a month. I don't think I'd come see you though, because I don't want you to look at my ass.
I actually don't inject people in their glute.
You don't?
I inject their delt.
Damn it. See, I was trying to be funny. God damn it. You're good.
I don't inject. I mean, let's be real. I am not for my male patients. No, I'm not. It's just so much easier to do the shoulder. I'm just hey, pull your arm up.
What would you do if a woman came into your clinic and you were giving her a shot, and she's like, no, you have to do it on my butt. And then she like slowly drops trout, and then you just saw a wiener.
Oh, I don't even know what I would do. I mean, I was like, as a professional, you have to stay professional, right? Like,
Yes.
you have to keep like
our conversation's
keep your
funny.
keep your poker face on. I don't know what I would do.
I would have been like, hey, that just winked at me. Can you roll it back up?
I don't know. I have been asked if I do like transitional hormone therapy, right? Which I don't, and not because I don't think it's not needed, but I don't do it because it's not my specialty. And like, I send everybody up to the University of Utah, right?
If you ever want to get into it as a science experiment, Lee, we're going to get Colby to do it.
Yeah.
Like, done deal.
But I don't see like where ageless, everyone has to go in for their injection.
Mm-hmm.
My patients don't. So they can come see me for injection if they want to.
So what's like the typical like age bracket of like your patients?
Honestly, the most common age that I see is probably right around the age of 35.
35?
It's when our balls stop working, dude.
There's some consensus amongst quite a few people in this industry that I work in, right? Hormone specialists or like biohackers, that probably right around 80% of men over the age of 25, at least in like the westernized world, now have a hormone deficiency.
Why do you think that is? I have a theory on this, but
Oh, well, you could go down the conspiracy.
no, I'm not. I'm not.
No, I mean, you
Okay.
can. Like, there are like, there's a lot
I think
of
it's
info
the
there.
food. I think it's the chemicals they put in our food.
So there's a ton, right? Like, there's environmental factors. There's so much stuff like pollutant wise, it's food.
Chemtrails.
It's,
I'm joking. Go ahead.
I mean, possibly, right? Like, I don't know what the hell they're pumping out of like these planes that I see flying around. Like, I don't know what the hell's coming out of them. And I don't know that anyone's ever going to tell us. Let's be real. Like, I don't expect the government or the FDA or the CDC or anyone to ever be honest at this point anymore.
No,
So I have no idea.
I agree with you.
There are so many endocrine disruptors in like literally everything that it is just plummeting hormone levels.
So for me, I'm not surprised at the age of 31 that I started having issues because I grew up in West Jordan and the water's shitty there. So
Yeah, it's the water. It's everything.
Everything.
Like it's actually really, it's appalling to me and it's disturbing. It's great for me for what I do for work, but it's really sad to see that in the 7 years I've been doing this, when I started doing it, there were very few men that I checked under the age of probably around like 30 to 32 that didn't have at least decent functioning testosterone levels. Like, they may not have been quote unquote what we consider optimal, but they were decent or like what I would expect for their age, their health status, their exercise routine. Like, I could kind of guess as to what like I would think they would be, and they would come back right around that level.
is there like a miracle cocktail out there where you don't have to work out and can still look good and feel good?
No,
Damn it.
I know, right? I mean, the minute
How effective are like the pills, like the testosterone pills?
None.
Is that a waste of money?
Waste of money.
the over the counter like boosters,
Yeah.
I obviously have a bias because I see all the people who may have been trying them and they haven't done anything.
Lee,
So-
I can tell you with 100% certainty, because I at one point ventured down the steroid life, that the pills don't do shit.
Yeah, I don't see anything with them. Testosterone is liver toxic, so it can't actually be done in an oral. Technically, like, yes, there are some oral forms of actual testosterone out there and they can be utilized. It's like for very specific cases of things.
So it has to be a shot.
Injection, cream, or pellets. So
Dang, like rabbit pellets?
like the pellets where we make a little incision on your bum and like drop a whole bunch of these little hormone pellets into you.
Let me know what your schedule is. I'll come down and do that.
Like,
I'm joking.
I'm like, so it's those three for men. Women have like a troche or like an under the tongue one. But so in studies, like the gold standard across the board is cream. Like that's what does give like the best result, like the most like steady levels, the best control for like cholesterol management and insulin resistance and all that kind of stuff.
So this is a serious question, and it's going to sound really funny. And I don't like it. I kind of mean it to be funny, but it really is, because I kind of want to know this. Where do you rub the cream in?
It goes onto your balls.
Really?
Scrotum.
Really? Okay.
So the old androgel, right, was like arm, chest.
Yeah.
The creams that like, and primary care likely still does that kind of testosterone. If you are seeing a hormone specialist, then the creams that we do are done in what is called a hormone heavy base. And so they have to be applied to like scrotal tissue for women, like inner labia or like really, really thin skin. So in studies, cream is always best. In clinical practice, cream is always difficult because of people remaining compliant, right? Like there's a transfer risk with cream. It has to like be on your skin for 4 hours before you can like get in the shower or pool or lake or whatever.
You do it like when you go to sleep?
Yes, but then if you're sleeping with someone, right, you have to make sure like area's covered so that it doesn't transfer to your significant other.
Yeah, like if your balls are slapping and you transfer cream over, like not in a good way, like they may grow a penis. Like you might be sword fighting.
There you go. That's exactly it.
No, for real though. Like women who take like steroids, like let me rephrase this. Women who take testosterone, their clitoris will grow.
Not always. I'm on a lot of testosterone.
Really? Mm-hmm. We're going to arm wrestle.
Not in that. Like, I'm not.
I'm joking.
My totally levels are like, so no, I do testosterone for women as well, right?
What's the level for a woman?
So optimal for a woman is for a total testosterone to be somewhere right around maybe 200 to 300.
Which is pretty low for a guy.
Yeah. So for a guy, optimal is closer to 1,000 or above.
So mine at 31 was like 170.
Yeah, you and my brother should talk because I just like posted something, right, that I'm going to be doing this journey between my two younger brothers of what I'm doing for their like management and care, because one's level just came back at 213, and he is like, both of my brothers are ridiculously healthy, but his levels shit. Like when I got his levels back, I immediately called him and was like, bro,
so
it's not good.
I'll put my hat in the ring, but I'm not touching tips.
you guys can arm wrestle. But no, this is like, so the thing with hormones, right? Because everyone always asks me like levels, like what level am I supposed to get to? The true answer is it's whatever level
you start feeling good
that controls your symptoms and that your health parameters get better. So that's where hormones are like fascinating, and it's such an art. Is it's not just the number on the piece of paper, right? It is, did we get your level to a point that your symptoms are now better without causing any side effects? So that's always like the kicker, is symptom improvement, goal achievement, no side effect.
What are the side effects?
Side effects for testosterone in men, most common is going to be acne, chest and back. And
then your emotions too. You guys start acting like a girl because your body starts producing more estrogen. That's true, right?
We just have to manage you just have to be managed correctly. Right. So most men, like your body will naturally aromatize like estradiol into a very like specific healthy level, and we don't have to do anything else for it because we really shouldn't be blocking your estradiol. It is so bad to block a man's estradiol level because all of the benefits that testosterone gives from a medical standpoint, like helping with cholesterol and insulin resistance and helping with bone protection and Alzheimer's and dementia and cancer and all of these things that it protects against, it's actually the estradiol from the testosterone that's doing the protection. So when we block it, we're actually putting you at risk for like comorbidities. We're also putting you at risk to cause impotence, because when you block a man's estradiol to a low enough level, the end result is erectile dysfunction. That's
your pituitary, right?
Mm-mm.
No? What does your pituitary gland do?
Your pituitary gland is basically your control center. So it sits up in like your...
Regulates the everything, right?
It regulates hormone output for signaling, right? So it registers... Think of it kind of like... So anytime I try and talk to my patients about
air traffic control.
Think of it like your body's kind of like an HVAC system. Okay. And like the pituitary gland is like the thermostat.
Okay.
The organ itself that's producing hormone is the heater. And then the hormone that's actually being produced and like dropped into the bloodstream is the heat. And so the pituitary gland is basically like the regulatory center. So it is trying to sense, okay, what are the levels of the hormone in the blood? And if they're too low, then I need to like pump out signal, or as a thermostat, tell the heater to kick on to make more hormone. If the hormone levels are high enough, then the pituitary registers like, oh, we have plenty, right? Like the house is hot enough, the heat's gone up, we're going to shut the heater off, right? So the pituitary gland's basically like your thermostat control center. It's sensing everything that's circulating in the blood and then signaling for more or less to be produced.
See, Lee, this is why I wanted her on here. I watched some of her videos. I'm not joking. Like, she gets into it, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Hormones are difficult to understand. They are like, we don't get training on them in school, right? So med school or PA school or MP school, anything like that, your endocrine training is very, very minimal. So all of the training for those of us that truly specialize in this comes from separate academies. So it either comes generally from like WorldLink Medical or A4M academies. So like I'm trained through WorldLink, but that training is essentially 4 conferences per year and then a symposium every year, right? So we are like sitting in class.
You have to talk.
No, I've spoke at one.
How
conference.
Scared were you?
No, I don't think you understand like how like this fear goes back to like I almost didn't graduate PA school because you have to give a master's thesis like presentation in front of 100, right? Like docs, peers, board members, like dean of medicine, like right. You have to like I was literally terrified. Like I went to my advisor and was like, I can't do this.
Think about it like this though. All of those people that are there watching you talk have to be there for every single student, every single year. I know me personally, if that was me, I'd be like, oh my God, get done with this. I got to go.
It terrifies me. So speaking in front of like the one speaking engagement that I did, I went out to the bar in the hotel and took 2 shots of tequila before I went on stage.
You kept your clothes on, right?
I did keep my clothes on.
That's good.
With 2 shots, I'll keep my clothes on.
You ruined some shoes,
we get to like 4 or 5 shots and like, I'm not making any promises.
Hey, weirdos, that doesn't mean you can DM her about tequila.
I'm a great time on tequila, but yes, at some point I will start losing things. Like,
that's every girl though.
I do. I'm like, I don't know where my shoes are at. Lost my watch.
Like the girls who can like sit and shoot like Jaeger, though, that fucking scares me.
I can't do Jaeger, so.
I love Jaeger, but when I see like girls just going like shot for shot, I'm just like, honey, do you even know what your next day is going to be like? Or is there something wrong with you?
No, I can do tequila. The bartender looked at me at this hotel and was like, aren't you supposed to be speaking? I'm like, yeah, dude, I have like 3 minutes. Hence, like I need 2 shots. Let's go.
You're like, don't tell me what to do.
He's just looking at me like I'm a crazy person. I'm like, listen, I need to like calm my nerves down before I go. And
did it help though?
It did. I mean, for that conference, I knew exactly what I was speaking on, right? So I had my notes. I like did the thing. Like it was fine. Like it went well. They've asked me to come back and speak. Like it's just a me thing, which is why like even doing stuff like this.
You
I'm
felt
like
a confidence type thing? Because you
sure.
sound so confident on your videos.
I know. No, it's for sure. Like I am the ultimate perfectionist.
Okay.
Right. And so I want everything to just like run exactly as it should. I want it to sound exactly as it should. I don't want to like misspeak or whatever. And so it's just me like criticizing myself. That's like it's the biggest thing.
Don't do that.
I'm really trying.
So I have a friend at work that I just promoted to a supervisor role, and he is OCD like really bad. So when I come up with a plan, it's always in here, and sometimes I don't explain it that well. But sometimes I don't explain it well because I do it on purpose because, like you're saying, your public engagement, you have to have personal growth. He needs to know every damn detail. Like I literally have to sit down and like an hour and go through it step by step with him. And then the day comes whatever the plan is I have in place, he'll ask me the same questions again. That drives me nuts because I've already taken time out of my day to explain this. So now I don't explain anything to him. And then he freaks the fuck out. And I said, bud, I'm just going to teach you a lesson in life right now. Let your hands off the wheel and see what happens.
Just Jesus take the wheel and like see where it goes.
Just see what happens. You're gonna sink or swim. And if you sink, you know exactly what you did wrong. So the next time you do it, it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's I just need to get better about, right, knowing that, yeah, it can't be perfect. Like I can't expect perfectionism out of myself all of the time.
I mean, it's a high bar you've set for yourself.
I am my biggest critic for sure. I have super high expectations and standards for myself.
You ever make fun of yourself for being so serious?
Oh yeah, all the time.
That's good.
Because I know it's like, see, that's where like my brain's very logical. Like I know it's not a good thing. Like it's not
a bad thing though.
No, it's just like finding that balance, right? Like I love that I do and will always push myself to like achieve really high set goals. Like if your goals aren't big enough to scare you, then I don't think like your goals are right. Like you need to adjust them. So I love that I can do that for myself, and like set goals are like, damn, like that's going to be hard to achieve, but I have really high expectations for myself. Like I can get there. But on the flip side of it is I also can't take, 90 minutes, like recording a 2-minute video because I have to do it 27 times because I don't like how I said one or two things.
We're 4 minutes away from an hour and a half.
Well, shit.
You still nervous?
No, not like I was when I first walked in. When I first walked in, it was like my hands are sweating, like my heart's racing. I'm like,
so I was a little nervous because this is a promise to God. This isn't what I'm about to tell you. But me and Lee always joke, like if the podcast doesn't work, then we're going to start Utah Casting Couch. So
casting couch?
You know what the casting couch is,
No.
right?
What?
Oh my. Okay.
What?
I'm going to take you into the dirty world of pornography.
Oh God. Perfect.
So the casting couch is a guy that puts an ad out for women to come in and model, and they end up having sex on camera, but there's no offer on the other side.
Oh.
That's the fantasy. That's the fantasy. I don't know if it's real or not, but that's what they try to sell.
All right.
So then, we have this gorgeous yellow couch that our friend Colby hates. Is it comfy, by the way?
It is comfy, actually. I'm great.
I've only had one person tell me it's not comfy.
No, I think it's great.
What's your thoughts on the lamp?
I think the lamp's perfect.
It's a little inside joke with me and Lee. I'll have to tell you after the podcast. I don't want to put him on blast too much. But anyway, so we always joke, like, if this fails, we'll do Utah Casting Couch.
God.
So then when you agreed to come on, like, look at it from our point of view. You're driving downtown. You go into an underground parking lot. You then go into a basement office and you see all of this shit. Now, people's first reaction is like, oh, this is so dope. This is so cool you guys are doing that. I was so nervous that you were going to walk and be like, what the fuck is this? And walk right back out.
Oh, why?
Because it's like you're a single girl driving your car into a basement and then me escorting you to this office.
Hey, there is a church next door, so
Yeah.
we're blessed by God.
You can't love Jesus as much as they do. There's some acting going on over there.
I mean, maybe I am too trusting of people initially. Like nothing ever crossed my mind. Maybe it should have. I don't know.
Well, we were looking to move up floors potentially. I think we're okay now, but when we were having the Bloods versus Crit battle with them, we were literally like, either A, when are you fuckers leaving? Because they were talking about it. And then we wanted that space because that's the biggest space over there or in this whole building. And then the other option was, let's go meet with management. We have to extend the lease and let's see if there's anything upstairs.
Well, it never crossed my mind to turn around and like leave. I didn't walk in and think like, what the fuck, I'm out of here. I may have walked in and thought like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, you don't know what you're doing. You've never done a podcast.
I'll tell you this. I don't know who the other 5 or 6 that asked you to go on their podcast. This will be the best one you'll ever do.
I love it.
Guaranteed.
This is just the first version of what we're doing too. We're gonna build a set and
yeah,
it's gonna be cool.
I love it.
Yeah. We have big plans.
Obviously I think podcasts are great. I think they're a great way to like reach people, especially in this day and age where, I mean, I feel like most of my son's information in life comes from podcasts.
Like Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn.
Those ones, there's like 2 other guys that are
Bobby Lee.
they're like they were like college friends, like athletes. Oh my God, I'm have to ask him.
Not
He's
the
like,
Kelsey brothers.
no, he was watching that one today though.
Okay.
Like after I made him breakfast. But there's another one. Oh, I'm gonna have to ask him because he'll send me like little snips of their stuff all the time, and they do make me laugh. And that's where he's like, I feel like me and my friends should do one of these. It's like I would subscribe to watch you and your friends just bullshit on a podcast because you guys are hilarious in my house.
Did you listen to anything I sent you?
I did. I went through, I didn't do a whole lot of them because you sent them to me like what? Not that long ago.
So I just sent you like how to get the audio only and then the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I came up with the idea of the podcast because I like to be a student of the game. So like growing up playing football, super competitive with all my friends, the whole nine. Well, at 38 with low testosterone, I can only compete with myself. So the golf thing, I don't get mad when I go golfing with friends and they kick my ass. I get mad at myself for playing bad. But there's other ventures in life that I like to, jump into. And like this started off as a project. And I had a friend that I was roommates with for a while. And him and I used to, back in the heavy drinking days, we used to get drunk when he had days where our days off aligned. And he would tell me all his problems and I'd be like his psychologist. So he nicknamed me Dr. Jonathan Peters, which is my Instagram account.
Okay.
He's also one of my biggest critics too. So anyway, when I came up with the idea for doing the podcast, because I've listened to a ton of them too, and I'm like, I could do this. People find me either really fucking annoying or really funny. And why not have a space where I could do both?
Absolutely.
So I ran the idea by him. He's like, well, what is it going to be about? And I was like, everything. He's like, well, can you be more specific? I'm like, no, literally everything. And he's like, you have the voice for it. Go for it. And I was like, cool. That's all I needed. That's that little push to do it. So me and Jaden started it in a basement last year. And then Lee, him and I crossed paths through a mutual friend golfing on Sundays. And then he had a friend that got COVID, and Lee is a Utah Utes ticket holder. He's like, you want to come to the game?
Go Utes.
Yeah. So
Utes.
He had me meet him here, and I like walk into this office and I'm like, dude, what do you do for a living? He's like, oh, this was just a side project with another friend of mine that we didn't go anywhere. So we're just like paying the lease until we can break it and be out. And I was like, let me present you with an idea. So we missed the first half of the Utah game talking business before we actually went up to the game.
I mean, everything happens for a reason, right? I'm a firm believer in that.
I tell Lee all the time, I feel like part of my happiness is coming here, doing this with Lee. I do get frustrated at time when the equipment doesn't work.
Well, sure.
That really pisses me off, especially with the amount of money that we've spent.
I get frustrated when I can't figure my computer out. So, which is a lot.
We've worked out the bugs, though.
We're good now. We just had a lot of versions of doing this, but no, it's just right people, the right place, the right time.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm like honored you came on, because I feel like had I not had 10 episodes, like a running head start, and some fucking dude you don't even know calls you out, like, and then you're like, well, send me your podcast. And then like they either can't because they just started it, or they don't have anything to back it up, where we have video, we have audio, we have all of it.
Yeah, I mean, had you not had anything to send me, and then I pulled into like an underground parking garage in the basement, maybe I then wouldn't have walked in.
So I think that's the goalie with the golf stuff is we won't do anything and we'll just invite gorgeous women down. And they're like, send me your information, and then we just send them like a YouTube channel that has no videos on it.
I think you could definitely get girls to golf with you for sure.
Are you a golfer?
Oh, I am not a golfer. So my brother has all of the golf talent. He literally took it all.
Really?
All of it. Like,
you want to learn?
I would love to learn how to golf. He has tried to teach me a little bit. So Tyson's an incredible golfer, right? Like, played at Bingham, All-State. Like,
you went to Bingham?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
Like me and so the three of us all went to different places. So West Jordan, Bingham, and Copper Hills.
One of your brothers went to Cop Rails? What year did he
My
graduate?
baby brother went. So when would he have graduated? I was 03. Ty would have been 05, I think. So Dylan, I think, would have been 07.
Okay.
Because we're all like 2-ish. It might be.
Ask him if he knows Andy Bailey.
Okay.
You may have saw the story. It's the kid that slept with the teacher.
Oh, God.
He was my neighbor. This kid was the biggest pussy growing up. Like, Mormon family, like, so me and my brother used to go over to their house, get them on the trampoline, and then do WWE and make these kids cry.
Why does this not surprise me?
We toughened him up. But he's a good dude now. I just remember he was a whiny little crybaby growing up. But when he did that, I was like, okay, that's gross from the female aspect because it's an underage kid, but you go, boy. Like,
why? That is like such a typical response. That is such a boy response.
The reason why is because I didn't have hot teachers growing up. Like, I felt like these were like the creatures from the Blue Lagoon that would teach you math and history and all that shit. So knowing what, and I don't know if he's married or not, but knowing being in the married life and you know this, like, you have to sacrifice some things. So you might as well get it out and go for gold when you can. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
It'd be like on your end being like, oh, well, I just met Elon and we're getting married tomorrow. Except you're 17.
Yeah.
You upgraded big time. Like, I'm not, even if he's not the best looking dude in the world, it could be whoever you fantasize about. But my point is, you took a shot and you got it.
And you landed it.
Now, the other person's a fucking gross person for doing that shit. But
I mean, teachers are getting prettier and prettier, younger and younger. I mean, good on them. Like,
yeah, they're getting more psycho too.
My child actually told me the other night that I should come to parent-teacher conferences. I was like, Bricks, I haven't gone to parent-teacher conferences for you since you were like in 7th grade. Why in the hell would I start now? He's like, because I want you to come meet my girlfriend. I was like, your girlfriend? He's like, yeah, my second period teacher. Like, she's going to be my girlfriend. Well, Bricks, don't do anything with your teacher. He's like, Mom, she's like 22 or 23. She's hot.
Can you imagine you sit down and you're like, okay, I get it. And he just looks her in the eye. He's like, I'm going to fuck you.
I would lose my shit.
Would you really?
But I guess he had told my brothers that he thinks the second period teacher is hot. My brothers had like the same response as you did with this friend, where he's like, if you can land it, dude, go for it. I'm like, don't you fucking dare.
He has no downplay. Like, there's no consequences for him. He looks like a hero. It's fucked up. That's how society is, though.
I know.
And she goes to prison.
I would literally. I'm like, he's like, Mom, she's only like 5 or 6 years older than me. I'm like, okay, dude, listen. In a different stage in life, that 5 or 6 years wouldn't make a difference. I'm like, but in this stage in life, that 5 or 6 years is prison time. So like, just knock it off.
Tell him, bro, throw your cap in the air a year from now and then make a run at it.
Like, something like that, right? But just like, not right now. Like,
so does your son date a lot?
He doesn't necessarily date per se. Like, I mean, he does like the school dance thing, right? And like the girls will come over and like hang out at my house as well. But I don't know that a lot of them date. Like,
I don't think they know what dating is.
I mean, I don't know that a whole lot of guys know what dating is at this point in time anymore.
Maybe not now, but
I'm always shocked if like a guy actually asks me if it's okay if he can come pick me up for a date, right? Because I do appreciate that. Like, I appreciate being asked, like, hey, do you feel comfortable with me coming to your house to pick you up? And if it's obviously somebody that I know, or like we have mutual friends, and I'm like, yeah, sure.
Not a dude that does a podcast in a basement.
Or like just someone's like randomly, hey, like, not that I say yes to like random dates, but because I don't. But just being asked, like having courtesy of like, can I show up? If they, like, I've had guys show up with flowers, which I'm like, oh, this is really going back to like chivalry. Like, I didn't even know this existed anymore.
Does your guard start to go down when that happens?
I mean, it does a little bit actually, because I'm like, this is unusual. And then if you have like an actual plan that I didn't have to take part in, that is like a home run.
Yeah, because I know a lot about this subject because when I don't do something right, I need to figure out what I did wrong and then correct it and then use it to see if it works.
Yeah.
So any guys that are out here watching this, I'll tell you right now, whether you pick the girl up or not, or she meets you, have a fucking plan. You tell her where you're going to go and eat.
Yes.
Have and then if you can do dinner and another deal, like, I don't know, bowling or something, or like just another thing that night, it's a 2-for-1 special.
Seriously. Like, just having a plan, like a time, telling me what time, like, you're going to pick me up. If there's anything, like, in particular that I do need to wear, like, if we're going to be, like, if you have a particular event planned and I need to wear something for that event, not in a dirty way, in a very much like, hey.
Thong and a booby tassel.
Right? Like, not that way. But, like.
Yeah, but, like.
If there's something where, like, all of a sudden we're going to end up on a hiking trail.
Don't do the hiking thing.
But, like.
That's how women die. That's worse than getting you down here in this basement.
I would not go hiking with just anyone, but if this was like someone that I knew,
okay,
right, and was like, "Hey, we're gonna grab lunch and go," like, I have a plan, but they want it to be a surprise. If part of the surprise is gonna be I can't be in high heels, make sure I know that I can't be in high heels because it's all I wear.
Well, just like think of it like this: you hear the stories of like girl meets a guy online and then ends up dead, and they went hiking in Cottonwood Canyon. And then the girls are always like, I would never do that. And then the next guy's like, hey, you want to go hiking? Sure, let's go.
I wouldn't do it with anyone that I had just met, that's for sure. But I think if you can tell me, like, it is so attractive for a guy to be able to say, hey, I'm going to pick you up at this time. Like, we have reservations. Like, I have a plan. Like, just having a fucking plan goes so far.
And pay for it. Don't let them pay for it.
And that, like, if you're going to ask me out, yes, I've been on dates where, like, the dude's card is declining and he's, like, calling his mom at home to try and figure out how to pay for dinner.
Shut
and
the
I'm
fuck up. Seriously?
Listen. Yes. Yes.
You bust out the black card, huh? You're like, hey, baby.
I'm like, I will just fucking pay for this. And then, like, we're never going to talk again, but fine.
He's like, do you want some tequila? You're like, sure.
No, that's like, hell no. I'm going home.
No, that's your logical brain.
But like, I don't think a lot of men know how far having just not having to ask the girl anything, just kind of telling us what to do. I'm obviously a very, very independent female. Like, I am hyper independent. I can take care of myself all by myself. But because of what I do all day long, my brain is making decisions. It's going a million miles an hour. I'm like, I have to operate in a very masculine energy all day and decide, right, people's treatment regimens. And like,
you are deciding every single second of the day. All
the time. And now being the only parent for my kid, like, it's the same thing, right? It's just me. So being in that, like, masculine perspective, the vast majority of my day, by the time I can, like, I say get off work, I'm actually, like, never off. By the time I can, like, check out for if someone's asked me on a date, I don't want to have to think. Like, right. I don't want to have to make decisions. I don't want you to ask me, like, where I want to go or what should we do, or, like, God damn it, if you're going to ask me out, like, have a plan for it.
Also, ask questions and then shut the fuck up and let them talk. Right?
Yes.
That puts women in their feminine energy.
Yes.
That's the natural energy.
Exactly.
It's not a hard concept.
It's not, but it's remarkably, I have at least found in my experience, it's much more difficult to find these days.
Well, it's because men are retarded.
Thank you for, yes, that's
exactly. I can tell you that right now. I know that.
And I don't want to say all, like, there are some good ones out there. I have also realized this past, like, week and a half, women are crazy. So men are retarded, women are crazy. Like, I don't know what's happening in the world, but even some stories I've heard, maybe men are the way they are because some of the stories I've heard lately about females from, like, my male friends, I'm like, what in the hell is going on with women? Like, if I were you guys, I wouldn't date us. Like, what are people, like?
I've shown up to pick women up they've been completely fucking hammered and been drinking for like 3 or 4 days. Like, what do you want me to do with this? And like, honest to God, I don't like taking advantage of people unless I'm making fun of them. But like, I don't do the whole like, let's get you drunk because that's your panty dropper. Like, I don't do that.
Which is very respectful. Don't.
Because it's number one, it's super easy to do, so it's not a challenge. And number two, I'm just to the point in my life where if I'm taking time out of my life to spend time with someone, I'm going to make it worth my while.
Absolutely.
And they have to like, yeah. And then the other thing that drives me up the fucking wall is you go out on dates and then they bust their phone out and they're sitting there texting.
Oh yeah. That is super, super disrespectful. And regardless of how long you've, like, whether it's first dates or how long you've been with somebody, right? Like, even when Bricks and I go out to dinner, we
put the phones away.
Yeah. Like, it's the time that we can, like, sit for an hour and, like, spend with just one another. Now, on dates, we'll always make sure people know that I have my phone. Yes. And that's for one reason only. And it is strictly my kid.
Emergencies.
Like, that's it. Like, he's the only one I will answer. He's the only one I will, like, entertain if something pops up. Like, so my phone's always there for him.
Right.
But outside of that.
But if you took, like, let's say 2 hours on a date and an hour and a half is spent with them on their phone.
Hell no.
Like, to me, that's a huge turnoff. Like, I'm done. I don't care how hot you are. I don't care how successful you are. Like, if you can't give me 2 hours when I'm giving you my undivided attention. Yeah. Like, I could be doing something like this or the other favorite thing I have in life, which is sleeping.
Exactly. Yeah. If I'm going to take time out of my day to be with you, the least you could do is, like, give me your attention while we are in this time block of a couple hours together. Like, that is not a lot to ask, but I don't know, this day and age, this generation's interesting.
Well, I just feel like, you know, the cartoon, Pepe Le Pew.
Yes.
And it happens on both sides. You either get like love bombed and you're the cat and you're like, get the fuck away from me. Or you are the skunk and you're like pushing too hard. And like the other part where people get this wrong is they don't know how to read energy.
Oh yeah.
So like I'll use like our text messages back and forth. Like I didn't blow you up at all.
No.
Like you sent a text. It didn't matter how long it took for you to respond because I was at work. I like whatever. We were just talking about planning the show and everything. But it wasn't like one of these things where like it was, you know, why aren't you responding to me? I don't even know you. Like, well, I'm not entitled to a fucking response. I wasn't even entitled to a response when I called you out on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, thank you for accepting, but that's where people like men get it wrong and women get it wrong too, is just because you send a text doesn't mean you get the automatic response.
Absolutely.
Because the automatic response is not thoughtful.
No.
Right.
And I think if you give people time to just be able to respond, right? Like I will, especially if someone is contacting me on my cell phone, like my direct messages are a totally different story. Like you likely won't get a response from me there, but
I did.
Yeah.
Luckily.
I say, like few and far between, right? Right now on my Instagram, there's like 3 different folders that at first I didn't even know were I didn't even know that was a possibility. Like it's like.
Are you blue check mark on Instagram too?
Mm-hmm.
How did you get that?
So.
Asking for a friend.
Around Halloween time, actually, my Instagram got disabled, like by Instagram. Like they thought I was trying to, what did they say?
You were inappropriate.
No, I wasn't inappropriate. I was, I had like broken guidelines because I was trying to impersonate somebody else, which I'm like, how, like what? I do not understand. Like, how am I impersonating someone else? Like my account, I mean, I've now had like a handful of accounts just in the past like week that have been trying to impersonate mine.
I wonder if the impersonator was so good that they thought yours was the fake.
That could have been that, right? But I mean, my account has like, at the time it had like 900 posts on it and like 50,000 followers. Like, who the hell am I trying to impersonate?
Right.
So they like shut it down, and when Instagram like shuts it down, right, you can send a response and they can decide whether to like look into it and reverse what they decided, or they can just decide to like disable your account completely. Well, I sent the thing saying like, this is me. They asked for like my ID, like a couple things to like verify. And like 30 seconds later came back and said, nope, we still think you're trying to impersonate someone. Your account's now going to be deleted. And I'm like, what in the hell? Like, I don't even care about the amount of followers that are on there for this to get deleted, but that has been like a scrapbook for me. Like,
it's a content thing.
there are so many pictures on there that I don't have anywhere else of like my kid or Trevor, my family, that I can't get back. So I hired a company to go retrieve my account. They did. And then once they did, they were the ones who like did the whole blue check mark thing to make sure that like it wouldn't get shut down again.
See, that's crazy because I heard the only way you can get a blue check mark, with the exception of X or Twitter or whatever, is you have to be like a public figure and be like have articles written about you.
I think you can buy it, can't you?
Well, I know on X or Twitter you can.
On Instagram you can't?
I don't think so.
I thought you could buy it.
Maybe it's because the reel went viral and there were all sorts of articles written. I mean, the Today Show did articles. Like, I have no idea. I don't know.
Larry Cronkite was running around in his grave. Like, it was a...
Right. But that at least is like, I mean, that's how. But now there's like 3 different folders on my social media. There's like direct ones that will come in. Then there's like message requests. And then there's a whole nother hidden folder that like I didn't even know about. Some people are like, I'm messaging you. Well, I don't know what folder you're in.
That's the dick pic folder.
Oh, God. That's obviously happened.
Yeah, don't ever send a dick pic. You guys are fucking stupid.
Oh, I get them.
Why send a dick pic if you just put in the work and open up Pandora's box? It's a lot better to play with in person.
Men, I'm telling you, I don't know.
I don't understand it. I've asked other guys, like, hey, have you sent dick pics? They're like, yeah. I'm like, why? Well, you got to show off your junk. I was like, why don't you put forth fucking effort and make it happen in person?
I will let everyone know, all guys, listen, there is no world that any of us live in where we as women, the vast majority of us, like I dare say, well over 95% of us don't want dick pics.
Unless you ask for it.
Yeah, like, so I should say unsolicited dick pics. If you're like engaging with your other person or whatever you're doing personally and like it leads to that, okay, whatever. But unsolicited dick pics, I promise you, we don't want them. And I think for men, like, you guys are visual creatures, right? So, okay, if someone were to send you, like if a female were to send you her naked, like that's stimulating because you're visual creatures.
That doesn't do anything for me. I'm probably the fucking unicorn here.
So there's always the exception to the rule.
Yes.
But like, would you agree? Like for most men, if they were like, oh hey, this girl like sent me like a nude.
Right.
It's because you're visually stimulated. And I do dare say like the female body is prettier than the male body. Sorry.
100%. And if you're not circumcised, you're already out of the game. Like no one likes a sleeping bag.
They're really hard. Like they're really hard to inject. Anyway,
you injected what? Hold on, I gotta hear about this. You actually injected someone in the?
Oh, I do a lot of P-shot injections.
Really?
I've injected lots of penises.
Why?
PRP injections into the penis.
Like,
so I do
like direct injection testosterone.
No, so it's platelet-rich plasma.
What does that do?
It helps with, it's basically like anti-aging for your genitals, right? So for like men or women. So I do P shots and O shots. So the Propria shot for men and then orgasm shot for females.
So it's like a DeLorean for a dick. You can go back in time.
Well, yeah. So think about it. Your body doesn't really like signal for tissues to be like healed or turned over or regenerated unless they're like something happens to them, right? Like it's not just gonna go try and restore like it's soft tissue, blood vessel, like nerve growth to any substantial amount just for no reason, right? Like there has to be an injury that kind of like elicits that response to happen.
Like if you break your dick.
Yeah, like if you break your dick, which I've never ran into, but
happened.
I'm sure
happened to my uncle, like a true story.
Did it? Like, was this like 4 hours of erection that lasted too long and then it breaks?
No, this was more like trying to slam a square peg into a round hole type deal. And I asked him because I am visual on most things. So the only thing I can think of is your dick literally broke in half, which means if you get hard, do you have a 90-degree angle?
Like, I was actually wondering like how, like
he wouldn't tell me.
I've seen a lot of penises in my life and I've seen a lot of interesting ones, but not one that's ever been broken.
They're not pretty.
I mean, so they're not pretty.
No, they're veiny. They're weird.
But so that's like for me, right? Like I do injections of both sorts, like men, women, to inject an uncircumcised penis, even though like I've done it. It makes my job more difficult for sure.
You put the mask on because you don't know what kind of smell you're going to get. You don't know the hygiene of that person.
No, actually, most people, if they're coming in to see me for an injection, right, I think of like taking the time to do like all the things to make sure that
I'm just talking about rolling the sleeping bag back. Like, did they clean that whole deal?
they have to like numb themselves and do the whole deal because I'm not putting numbing cream on you. Sorry.
Just sitting there doing this.
Yeah, not putting numbing cream on you. I'm like, here's your little tray of stuff. Here's what you do. Like, once you're numb, I come back in, I do my spot. Like, my thing takes like 90 seconds.
What would you do if you walk back into the room and the guy's like, my tongue is numb?
Oh my God.
Like, what? Like,
I would want to, like,
you're like, dude, on your balls.
yeah, like,
Rub it down. Don't swallow it, weirdo.
I do try to clarify my instructions really clearly so that no one puts it in places they're not supposed to.
Or he's like, my butthole's numb.
I have had that because they like numbed the entire area. And I'm like, I'm not injecting there.
So I've never ventured into that. But I did dare my brother one time to rub icy hot on his balls, and he cried for a couple hours.
Oh yeah, that's really mean of you.
It was actually the funniest thing though, because like I couldn't believe he did it.
Yeah, why?
B, why would you know this shit burns? Why would you put it in one of the most sensitive places on your body?
Yeah.
And then to watch him in agony was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I would never. I mean, icy hot. Hell no.
Lee, would you ever jump in a DeLorean, go back in time where your balls were 18 years old and take a needle to it?
That's a negative.
A needle? I don't inject 18-year-olds.
No, but like so let's say you're 45. Would you take the needle at 45 knowing that you're going to go back in time and get your balls at 18?
I'll probably pass on that.
Yeah, I would too.
People always think it's going to be.
You go in the pee hole?
No. So it's 2 shots into like each side of the shaft and then one through the corona or the ridge.
What would you do if you saw like a junkie spot on a dick?
Oh, listen, I've seen some shit. Okay.
Like, I bet.
I've seen some things like on average, 90% of like the penises that I've seen basically look the same. Right.
You're like, hey, Tom, warts are looking great today.
Basically, it's all kind of like everyone kind of has the same shit going on down there, right? Like, especially when there's numbing cream and like there's no erection going on, right?
Yeah, they're just dangling.
Yeah, like they basically all look the same.
They're hanging out.
But I've had a handful that I like they've definitely like stopped me in my tracks where I'm like, what in the hell? Shit.
There was like a big like horse thing. You're like, oh my God.
No, so I had.
I'm totally joking.
I had one.
I'm sure you run into baby dick a lot.
I've injected one micro penis. Was really difficult given like
even with a thin needle. Like it was that small.
It's just like based on the amount of like PRP that's supposed to go in there anyway. There was no way I was going to get the amount of product that I had into where it needed to go.
That's when you tell them, hey, bud, just rub this on your balls daily because you're not going to go anywhere.
Like I was like, I've only done one though, and I would like to never do it again because it was really, really difficult.
Is it true white guys have micro penis?
Not all white guys, no.
Oh, I'm joking.
Maybe some. It was a white guy though. It wasn't like it was.
It's like dwarfism for men.
And how often are they getting this treatment?
So P shots can be done. They can be done every 3 months, essentially, if someone wants to do them every 3 months. But I would say on average, most of my patients, if they're doing them, it's once a year. It is like, I mean, I am going to start. I haven't even told anybody else this. This is like
breaking news.
I'm going to start doing placental stem cell injections for.
I was going to ask you about stem cells, not placenta stem cells, but
Yeah. So I'm going to
Describe that because that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm going to start doing those. I actually just met with a company this week. So I'm going to start doing those injections, and rather than doing, because right now when I do P shots or O shots, it's PRP plus a peptide, right? So you're getting like the platelet-rich plasma, which is your own blood product that contains all of your own growth factors and like regenerative factors and all the really good stuff that your body needs to heal itself. And then I put a peptide in it to just enhance like those regenerative effects. But with placental stem cells, the effects are likely going to be drastically better, right?
Is it just because they're like beginning stages of the stem cell actually being told what to do?
Yeah. So rather than somebody's own blood product, right, which obviously as we age, just our growth factors and regenerative factors decrease anyway because the body's aging.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, giving someone PRP injections of their own blood product at 25 is going to be very different than at 65, right? But if I can use placental stem cells for the injections now, it's just these cells are intuitive and they will just migrate to all the locations that they need to do the healing and regeneration that they need.
So like what's the injury though?
There's no injury per se. So even when we're doing PRP, we're kind of tricking the body.
So you like if you have micro penis, you can't just like dip your shit into a cup of placenta and like get them boys and
No.
I know. That was a joke.
No. I
So-
would hope not.
Fuck, you never know.
I mean, it's really weird thing.
My brother rubbed icy hot on his balls. You never know.
I'm gonna say no on that one.
Okay. Fingers
Solid
crossed.
pass.
Fingers crossed. So like what's a typical use for the placenta stem cells?
Everything. So like these things are big things for stem cells right now, right? Are injuries.
Right.
Right. That's like the biggest thing. That's where stem cells have kind of like made their biggest mark is people that have especially like rotator cuffs or knees or hips, low back. I'd say that's where most people know about them or have like even thought about doing injections for them.
But it's a strict regimen though, right?
So stem cells, yeah, before I met with this company, I was actually just telling my patients if they wanted stem cells to go to Tijuana because Tijuana was doing they have a clinic down there that does fantastic like
Really?
stem cell regeneration. So I was sending people there.
I would never go to Tijuana for that.
I know you wouldn't think that, right? But they
Definitely not a donkey show
like
either.
this clinic's actually really beautiful.
Is
They
it?
do like it's like when people ask about hair transplant surgery, I'm like, go to Turkey, right? Like sadly in the US, we just don't do things really well. And the things that we try to do are really, really expensive.
Well, the stem cell thing was such a hot button thing for a while because it was, you can't use aborted fetuses. And it's like, you can get them from different things.
Yeah. So these stem cells with this company, they're all donated, like, and they are,
They just got a bucket when the placenta
right?
breaks.
There's like, here you go. They're all from cesarean births, and the moms have just donated like the tissue afterwards. Like even 17 years ago when I gave birth to Brixton, I was asked if I wanted to donate my placenta at that time. It wasn't for stem cells. I don't know what they did with it, but I was like, yeah, sure, take it. Like, what the hell am I going to do with it?
It's to clone you.
Like, if they would actually clone me, if someone still has that and wants to clone me,
No,
go for it.
That's who did your Instagram account and got you locked down.
Well, then I need that clone to come in and like help me because I talk all the time about if I could just clone myself, it'd be great.
I have some dum-dums that you could take from me that if it's just filing papers and stuff, I'll tell them to keep their hands to themselves.
Oh, I need like my brain downloaded into somebody else.
I've had that issue since I was born. Like literally, I had one of my old bosses is like, how do I take what's out of your brain and put it on paper?
Yeah,
And I was like, okay, dude, we're going to be here for 100 years.
exactly. Like when people are like, just hire another provider. Do you know how long it's going to take me to train somebody to do what I do? Like, I know it doesn't seem like it given my appearance, but there is so much information in my brain.
No,
So much.
No, that's the best part about you though, is because you are brains and beauty. That was like
Thanks.
that was the big reason why I wanted you on, because the whole medical thing is so fascinating. And then to watch people like degrade you over the fucking real. I hate bringing up the real thing again, but
I think it's hilarious. I mean, that real,
as long as you didn't get hurt on that deal, like that's all that matters.
no. I think the reel's great. Bricks and I were going to try and recreate it with him jumping on me. Not that I jumped on him, but I can't pick him up.
You might need stem cells after that.
I can't hold him anymore. Like, he tried.
He's a big boy. Like, you could tell on just picture wise. He's a big kid.
Oh yeah, he's almost 6 foot and 210 pounds.
I'd fight him.
And he's like, you guys can, you know what? Go for it. Like, just get in the ring, do whatever you want to. I don't know.
I say that to everyone.
Like, he's a big kid. So I was like, I think I'm tough. I am pretty tough, like, for my size. So I was like, I can do this. Like, I can hold you. No fucking way. Can't.
I think
impossible.
I think, physically you're a tough girl too. But I think emotionally and mentally, there's no one that can do what you do.
Probably not. I mean, I had, luckily a lot of what I've gone through in my life has like pushed me to have to be like emotionally and mentally tough. Like, there was really no other option.
Yeah. You're sacrificing dick pics for your career.
It's true. I mean,
don't send them, you guys. Don't be disgusting little fuckers.
I had to do, so after I did whatever little like story I did about erection function on my Instagram, within like the next 48 hours, I got like 22 dick pics of people wanting to like.
Someone's like, does it work?
Seriously, like being like, look, I don't think that like, do you think I have erectile dysfunction? But like, whatever, right?
This is why I tell you men are stupid.
I know. I'm like, why? I finally had to get on and be like, listen.
Stop.
The next person that sends me a dick pic, I will turn this shit into an NFT.
Do it.
I will try and sell it somewhere. I don't know.
No, donate it so you don't have to pay taxes on it.
Or that. Or you can pay me a substantial fee to get your dick pic back. Because at this point, I feel like if you're sending it through like my public Instagram and I didn't ask for it, and I'll like attach all your info. I'll put like your handle. I'll put your name. I will put whatever I can find on you. Like, you've lost all right to privacy.
I think you should create a Facebook page for 18 older, and it's dick pics of Meta. So you get Instagram and you get Facebook, and go to town and like just have like a big estrogen party with a bunch of other girls and just start dropping dick pics everywhere. And it's like, that looks like Scott.
I mean,
you find cheaters just by looking at dicks.
The thing is we don't want to sit and look at them. Like, when they get sent to me, I'm like, fuck. God damn.
Are they even creative? Do they even like put a bow on there or anything? Or is it just like, here you go?
I haven't had any like super creative ones. No.
Hey guys, don't do that. Don't.
I know. Please, actually,
don't take my jokes for granted.
Don't now like tie a bow to it and send it to me to be like.
Don't. You might as well cut it off, and we don't want to see that either.
Like.
It's so weird. Why, like, the behavior? Lee, be honest. Have you ever sent a dick pic unsolicited?
Not unsolicited.
That's good, dude.
That is always the key word.
That's good. I've never done it.
Don't do it unsolicited.
I always tell them, like, I don't do that. You have to come open up Pandora's box, but it's more like a horror movie. It's not good. Oh my God. No, I'm kidding. I have a fully healthy dick and balls. I might get prostate cancer because my grandpa got it too, but
we'll make sure you don't get prostate cancer. I treat prostate cancer.
Do you? Mm-hmm. You don't milk the prostate, do you?
I do not. I also don't do digital rectal exams because I don't think anyone wants these going in those places.
No, those are back ticklers. They're not anus ticklers.
Mm-mm. So no, I don't do that.
So what's the other things you don't do professionally?
It's like, this is a loaded question. Things I don't do. So I don't do digital rectal exams. I don't do like primary care management, right? So I don't do like breast exams. I don't send people for like mammograms and colonoscopies.
You can't get your COVID shot, right?
Oh, that's a whole nother topic because no, I do not.
I don't want to get banned. Like we got good steam running here. I don't.
So no, but I do not do vaccinations.
Okay.
So I don't do that stuff. I don't do like physical exams, right? Like if people are like, oh, I want to come in and have like.
No surgery.
No like surgical procedure. So the most.
Like no gyno removal. Mm-mm. That's good.
So my stuff is mainly like. The only procedures I do, right, are injections or stem cells, P shots, O shots. I can do aesthetics, like fillers, Botox, that kind of stuff. Like I am like a master injector for aesthetics, but my schedule with like hormones and peptides and all of that kind of thing is so busy that my aesthetic schedule is next to nothing.
So I'm not a full chromosome extra like the Chromie homies, probably like a half. You think you could fill this in?
Think I can fill this in?
Just Botox me out? Really?
So I do fillers. I do stuff like that. I used to do a lot more of them. But what I do with just like the medical management of my patients, I have hardly any time.
So like this here, I think is either from like the movie Grumpy Old Men. Like typically men as they age are supposed to get better looking. I think I'm going Benjamin Button route. Or it's because I sleep weird.
I mean, we all do start to lose volume like right around our temples as we age.
I know, but this, like, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, holy fuck.
Do you like drive your hand into like the side of your face as you're sleeping or something? Like what's going on?
I'm a belly sleeper.
Okay.
And so I don't do like the under the pillow sleep. I do like the here, like, like come here, fucker, and then pass out.
So you're just like resting your hand there all night.
Yeah. Sometimes I wake up with like 3 wrinkles.
Put your hand somewhere else. It's my medical advice for you.
You know, my dad's been telling me that for a long time. It's hard. Habits are hard to break.
They are hard to break.
Lee, you got anything else you want to add?
I'm just curious about like the shot. Like how often do people get the shot?
The penile shot?
No, not that one.
The other ones?
The testosterone? Once a week, right?
So it depends. Yeah. So with injections, most men are probably once weekly. So it's a 50-50 split. Once weekly, twice weekly. And the difference for that becomes how do you feel after injection? So let's say you get an injection on a Monday and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you feel really great. But then like Thursday, Friday, starting to decline, like Saturday kind of hitting bottom, and Sunday is like, damn, I really need like my injection tomorrow. I can tell. That's indication to break you into twice weekly dosing. So we split.
You do the ester difference though, like test C, test P, or do you mix?
And how do you check your levels? Is it like a blood test?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when patients come to see me, they do their initial consultation. We talk about all symptoms, right? That's the biggest thing that drives what I do, because 98% of people that see me, their blood work is quote unquote normal. Like the levels come back within this reference interval of parameters that have been established for anyone ages 18 to 75, sick or healthy, doesn't matter. There's just this reference range that we use. And if you fall into it, you're normal. So for testosterone, right, 250 to 1,000, essentially. If you come back at 300, great, you're normal. People feel like shit at that level, but you're normal.
Do you push them away though because they're within normal, or do you actually still treat them too?
No, because my job is, yes, that is a normal level. And the harsh truth is most men will always stay in a normal level. There's only about 3 to 5% of the population that will ever fall below 250 year one. My brother, oddly, is another one. So the level of 250 was actually established for the guideline because in the thousands of studies that we have, we know that most men don't ever fall below 250. And so if 250 is the low mark, that saves insurance companies on millions and millions of testosterone prescriptions per year. Because if the level is not abnormal, then it doesn't require treatment. And so if we know that you're not going to fall below 250, or the vast majority of men aren't going to fall below 250, insurance companies save on tons and tons and tons and tons of scripts every single year.
I wonder if your brother, does he have O negative blood?
Oh, I don't know. I should ask him. So my job is not, I don't care if your level's normal. I care how you tell me you feel. So, and a lot of things with testosterone. So men think, well, my sex drive is still good. So my testosterone must be fine. Men, oddly, it's not the sex drive that goes. Like women, when our testosterone levels drop, sex drive is one of the first things that goes with it. But with men, it's sleep. So like insomnia, difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep. It's energy. It's overall day-to-day motivation. It's cognitive function, just not feeling as sharp, not being able to focus. it's not getting the results you want in the gym, or being really, really sore after working out, like more sore than you should be for what you did. So my job is to say, okay, I don't care if your level's normal. I care that it's optimal, and I care that your symptoms go away without any side effect being caused. So I check blood, I do a baseline, and then that's usually done like after they do their consultation with me, and then they come in for a lab review. And so during that lab review, it's like an hour and a half. We run through all the levels that I just checked, because I'm not checking just testosterone. I'm checking like your kidney and liver function, your blood cell count, your glucose, your insulin, A1C, cholesterol,
Thyroid,
testosterone, thyroid, adrenal function, vitamin D, B12, magnesium, iron. Like, we're looking at everything. So I go through all your levels with you. We get all of them optimized, including your vitamins, because vitamins are super important. So when people don't think they need to take their supplements, you do, and you need to take good supplements.
what do you recommend?
Supplement wise?
Yeah, just like a good vitamin.
So I don't actually necessarily recommend like a multivitamin, because most multivitamins are crap unless you do like a really, really good one.
What about
I feel like I'm wasting money because I take multivitamins and I take testosterone, the pills.
I know, but
with
bro,
all
you're like the fucking Energizer Bunny, though.
So to me, I think they're working, but maybe they're not working. I don't know.
So multivitamins, especially like over-the-counter ones, sadly, most of them.
I think I'm using the Bucked Up brand.
Bucked Up actually has good supplements. It's the stuff that people.
I'm using the fucked up
like,
brand.
It's the stuff people grab at like the grocery store or something that like most contain like chelated vitamins that aren't good. They don't contain like methylated like B12, which is the active B12. They contain folic acid instead of folate, or a lot of them don't digest well and just sit in your gut. So like multivitamins are actually one that I don't necessarily recommend unless you're doing like an orthomolecular, like just a really good supplement brand multivitamin. But the most common deficiencies I see are omega-3s, because most people do not eat fish, like wild caught cold water, freshwater fish. So like mackerel, herring, salmon, tuna, sardines, anchovies. Trout does have omega-3s less than like the other ones.
What about dolphin?
Ooh, I've never checked dolphin. Don't kill a dolphin. They're like one of my favorite.
They're fucking awesome, but there's weirdos in China that eat that shit.
I mean, I don't want to know dolphins' contents. I don't ever want to eat them. I love dolphins.
What if someone's like, want a flipper?
No. So omega-3s you do have to take, unless you eat fish, like a lot of fish. So
I don't eat a lot of fish.
Most people don't, and they don't eat good fish. So technically you need 3 6 to 8 ounce servings per week. And so most people are not doing that.
Me and Lee live by the same rule. If it lives in the water, we don't eat it. It disgusts me.
So take an omega-3 supplement, but it has to be a good one, right? That's a whole nother topic.
Is there one you recommend, or?
There's a good one by like Nordic Naturals. There's a good one by Orthomolecular.
But mercury-free omegas?
Yeah, so when you're looking for omega-3s, you're actually, like, you're not looking for fish oil, which is what a lot of people go and look for. They just go grab fish oil. That's not what you're looking for. You're actually looking for omega-3s with EPA DHA. It's equivalent to normally about like 2,000 milligrams per day. And you're looking for good quality, high potency omega-3s.
Is that like 10 pills a day?
No, because if you get a high potency one and a good brand, it's 2 capsules per day. If you get a shitty brand,
can you buy this on Amazon?
You can get Nordic Naturals on Amazon. Mm-hmm.
God, I'm going to have you write a list.
I know this is what I do for all my patients, right? So I walk them through. They actually get like supplement links, but like omega-3s are definitely like on most everyone's, unless they tell me they're eating a ton of fish. Vitamin D, especially in Utah, most people through the winter become vitamin D deficient, because fun fact about Utah is we sit in relation to the sun between October and about March, we sit in what's referred to as like just north of the 37th parallel. So we don't actually absorb any like the correct UVB rays to synthesize D into D3 through our skin. So from about October to March, it doesn't matter in Utah. If you're outside, you could sit like stark naked on the top of Timpanogos. You're not getting any like deactivation.
Have you done that?
No.
Okay, good.
Fuck
I did
that.
I did Timpanogos. I did the paved.
Yeah, no.
About
And in like the winter, hell no. Like,
I about
I'm all about
fucking-
science experiments. I'm not doing that science
I
experiment.
about fucking died going up that trail.
Yeah. I mean, I'll hike it, not in the winter and not for a science experiment. I'll just like listen and like read the research.
Watch.
Not
Some
gonna do my
idiot's
own.
going to send you a DM. You want to go to Timpanogos Trail?
I know, right? No. So you do need vitamin D in Utah. You need high dose vitamin D3, and you do need it with K2. B12 is another one that most people are deficient in, or at least like low in. Even if they're not deficient, they're low.
Vitamin B, because you used to be able to get the vitamin B shots, but then in men, I guess it was causing issues.
So you can still do B12 shots.
Fucking ageless men lied to me. I like those things.
No, you can still
So
do
the
B
shot
shots
that you're giving out, what's in that? Is it just the testosterone?
with testosterone. It's testosterone cypionate. So testosterone is essentially the same across the board, whether it's like propionate or enethate or any of those. The only difference becomes how quickly the body cleaves the ester,
ester.
Like off the testosterone. So some have like their half-lives essentially just become different. So cypionate technically should have like a 7-day half-life, which is why you should be able to get away with a once weekly injection. But some men do metabolize the hormone a whole lot quicker. And so if they start to have like these peaks and drops that happen with injection, we switch to twice weekly. Some men go to 3 times a week. There are some men that microdose daily with an insulin syringe. And so it's all
That's crazy.
very dependent on like when you go to ageless, it's just once a week, no matter what. Like they don't switch it up. It's just what they do. For me, my whole purpose is I have to know how you're feeling. So I need the feedback back of like, is this once weekly injection like keeping you stable the entire week? And if it's not, then we switch it and we go to twice a week. If that's not working, we go to 3 times a week.
Lee, I'm going to ask you a really personal question, and I'm being dead serious. At the age you are now, do you still wake up with a heart on?
Sometimes.
Okay.
That is one of the biggest key factors
I don't.
is morning erections.
That's a good thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Means your testosterone's normal or
It means testosterone's pretty good for the most part. Like it's definitely an indicator, but loss of morning erections or erectile dysfunction in general is not just an issue like penis wise. It's generally one of the first indicators of there's something else going on in the system. And one of the most common is like cardiovascular disease.
So I don't have ED, but it's rare I get the morning erection stuff.
Because we need to check your testosterone. And I'm not $300 a month. So let's just put that out
That's
there.
fine. I just don't want to sword fight your brothers. Like
I don't want anyone to sword fight my brother, so please don't.
Drawing the line right there. I don't do that.
I'm going to take my 2 brothers and we're going to like do a journey on their, like what's going on with their treatment plans, because my 2 brothers are, right, one's 30, he'll be 36 next month. The other will be 33 in December. So they're about 2.5 years apart. Their labs are fascinating in the sense that their health parameters were almost exactly identical. Like their cholesterol, their insulin, their glucose, their A1C, like most everything. Their thyroid function was like almost like, I mean, the numbers were just a couple off. It was
Well, that could be
crazy.
like what they or no, that's your triglyceride. Never mind.
Yeah, it's their diet and exercise is good, but my one brother had pretty he had okay testosterone function. It was in the 700s, but his free testosterone was not great, which is a whole nother topic of discussion because your free testosterone actually matters in your total testosterone, but everyone focuses on your total testosterone. I actually care where your free testosterone's at. So his free testosterone wasn't great. Total was pretty good, but he was completely like vitamin deficient, like B, D, magnesium, all the things. My other brother, like vitamin levels are impeccable. So good.
Ripped like a Greek god, huh?
His testosterone is shit.
Really?
So it's like, because what's going to be really great about doing this journey with them is
What did you do?
breaking shit. Is I'm going to be able to show patients, because I'll get comments like, oh, well, if my vitamin levels are like good and on point, then my hormone levels should be good. I shouldn't need anything.
I'll throw my hat in the ring.
Like, that's not the case because my one brother is exactly that. The other people tell me like, well, if my hormone levels are good, then I shouldn't need to take my like supplements. I shouldn't need my vitamins. My other brother is an example of that. So I'm going to be able to, as a provider, show across the board like why we need everything.
If you want to use me as someone that you can take all the negatives from both your brothers and just place it into one person, I'll do it.
I don't think, what do you mean take all the negatives and place it into one person?
Like your brother with low
vitamins
testosterone.
and the testosterone.
Yeah, like I guarantee you I have that going on. 100%.
A lot of my patients do, because so this is the thing with medicine is we don't, like, primary care doesn't necessarily talk about this. Like, when you get your labs checked with your primary care, generally you get a medical assistant calling you back a couple days later saying, hey, we got your labs back and the doctor says everything looks great. And people are like, awesome. I feel like shit. So what am I supposed to do? And they're like, well, I don't know, diet better, exercise more, sleep more, and you should feel better. Drink more water. Like, those are the shittiest excuses that we could give to people, because a lot of times when patients are coming to see me, for some patients, I am like their last resort. Like, I have had women walk in and be like, if you don't figure out what is wrong with me, I'm driving my car off the cliff. Like, I can't do this anymore. And I'm like, don't drive your car off the cliff.
Do you think they would let us record that?
I'm sure some of my patients would.
I'm just joking.
Like, the driving off the cliff for these conversations.
No, the cliff.
No one's driving off a cliff.
Okay,
I
good.
make sure no one drives off any cliff.
You're the miracle worker.
That's my whole job, is to be like, don't drive off the cliff just yet. Give me a couple months.
You know, remember those commercials? Hold on to dear life. Like,
They're like, people get to a point where they feel so crappy, right? And they've seen countless other people and just been told like, well, your labs are normal. Like, we can't figure out what's wrong with you. And that becomes so frustrating, because people know their body better than, like, you know your own body better than anybody else, right? So there is a saying that I actually like picked up from the doctor that trains us for all of our hormone training, where he will just tell us as providers, listen, you guys think you know everything because you went to school, you did all the work, you've done all the research, you've done all the studies, like, you think you know everything. So you think you know like what's wrong with your patient from like the moment you see their labs or they walk in. He's like, you don't. So what I will tell you is, if you just shut up long enough to listen to what your patient is telling you they're feeling,
the opposite.
they will actually tell you how to treat them. They will tell you what is wrong, and they will tell you how to fix them. You just have to shut up long enough to listen. And when you do that, which is why all my appointments are pretty long, right? It's not like when you see your primary care, you get like 10 or 15 minutes with them if you're lucky. With me, my shortest appointment is really like 30 minutes as a consultation. My other appointments are like 60 to 90 minutes so that we can go over everything.
Amber, if I come in, you're going to have to clear your entire day.
I mean, there's some patients I've definitely had to clear even more than 90 minutes for, but if I have to do that in order to get someone's full health history and picture so that I can actually get them treated appropriately, I will, because that's, in this world of like functional medicine, hormones, right? We're trying to get to the root cause. Like, we're not just trying to stick another Band-Aid on something. We're not just trying to like,
here's a pill,
give you a quick fix. My goal is always, if someone comes into me with this laundry list of medications that they're already on, how do I get you off the vast majority of most of these?
See, I would think you'd want to double it.
Right? Well, that's what everybody else does, because
one of my sisters, I swear to God, is a hypochondriac, and she has everything, and the doctors just give her pills. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, you are fucking killing yourself, because you don't even know how these things interact with each other.
Well, and that is one huge issue. And they are like, that is such a just like cornucopia of shit to put someone on just to be like, well, what can we try and fix? What can we try and fix? Like, my goal in medicine and with my patients has always been, there has to be some underlying root cause, right? So even when I was in PA school being trained, I remember thinking like, so we don't start screening people for a whole lot of diseases until they're older. Like, the standard was not even to check anyone's cholesterol until they were at least like 40, right? Like,
I can't wait for 50.
Like, right? And then like all the screening tests come in later, and like people start presenting with like poor health, like high cholesterol, insulin resistance, they're developing type 2 diabetes, and now we just start giving them pills to fix it. And I always sat in school thinking, how do we like just stop it from happening? Like, why are we playing defense? Why aren't we playing offense? Why aren't we saying like, hey, if we start checking things earlier and tell people how to keep themselves healthier, then maybe we can keep them off all this shit downstream.
Well, there'd be a lot more happier women.
There'd be just happier people in general, but this is the really like shitty thing about this country and about the way medicine works in this country is there's this dynamic between insurance companies, the FDA, the CDC, right? It doesn't matter what anyone says, they're all playing the same game together. And the goal is not to get people healthy. The goal is to keep you sick enough to not be dead, but not healthy enough to not need anything pharmaceutically. Like we need you just sick enough to be medically managed with a whole bunch of drugs.
You've seen the movie The Matrix, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like we're the batteries.
Yeah,
and they're
exactly.
They need you for 80 years because it's a cash cow.
Yes, where like in other countries like Europe, South America, they will actually encourage people to go get their hormones checked right around late 30s, early 40s, because we know as hormone levels decline that comorbidities from aging drastically increase. It's like if you think about it common sense wise, there is a reason why our healthiest population is kind of young adults, right? Teenagers, young adults. And it's because their hormone function is like peak. It's as high as it's going to be. So you don't see 18, 19, 20-year-olds coming down with high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, osteoporosis, Alzheimer's, dementia, because their hormone levels are fucking fantastic. But then as we age and all these levels decline, all these other things start to come up, and then we just start throwing drugs at them.
Right. There's no preventative care.
If I can get people's hormone levels back to an optimized state, the body will actually regenerate and fix and heal itself. So hormones in and of themselves protect, prevent, and treat things like cardiovascular disease and diabetes and cancer. Testosterone is actually prostate cancer protective, and most people don't know that, but there is a reason why older men get prostate cancer and tend to die with it than from it, and it's because their testosterone levels are at the lowest they will ever be.
So I love my grandpa to death. He's losing his marbles for sure. But watching him go through what he went through for his prostate, I would rather just pull that plug.
Oh yeah.
It's bad.
And there are ways to treat it and prevent it. But right, I don't take insurance, and there's a reason for that, and it's because I don't play their game. Mm-hmm. And that game is very much, how do we keep you like just sick enough to not die but not be healthy, so you need all of these drugs, and that's not my goal. My goal is, how do I actually try and get you off all of these pharmaceutical medications and on to things that your body already naturally has inside of it. Like, you already produce testosterone, so when I put it back into people, I'm just putting back in what your body is already making. It's just not making enough of.
Have you treated people before where like you've done, whatever it is that you do, you come up with the cocktail that you give them and their body like naturally responds and like kicks in and gets them back? Or is it
not if you go on testosterone? So it's like the whole thermostat and heater analogy, right? So if you go on testosterone itself, the level of testosterone in the blood goes high enough that the brain registers that the body doesn't need to be producing it anymore, right?
Oh,
it's
so
like the heat kicking, telling the thermostat to kick the heater off.
Okay.
So if someone goes on testosterone, it is a longevity treatment. Like, it's one that you really do need to stay on, because the body is not going to be producing really any significant amount while you're on it. And then when you come off of it, your levels are going to be low because the body hasn't been producing while you've been on it. So it is more of a commitment treatment. It's the end game result in what I do, right? Because between the ages of 50 and 60, a male goes through andropause the same way a female goes through menopause. We just don't talk about andropause as much. We talk about menopause. But a female's ovaries just shut down completely, right? Like, they shrivel up like raisins and literally stop producing any hormone, because we got the short end of the stick. And when I get to wherever I'm going one day, I don't know who or what is going to be there, but I'm going to have a conversation about it. So ours just like quit.
Your plumbing is very complicated.
We are super complex. Like, women are complex.
I wish you could stand up and pee. It's a glorious thing to do.
Right? We can't, 'cause it just like goes down our leg.
I know, it's not like you'd have to like.
I know, it's. Sometimes I wish you guys would sit down to pee, though, so it didn't end up like all over the fucking toilet seat. But that's another story. But
I actually have a good story on that.
Men do go through andropause, So the only difference becomes your testes don't just stop.
Right.
They tend to make some hormone, but the hormone isn't clinically or statistically significant to produce really any result for you. So the end game result does end up being testosterone at some point. But let's say, like I treat a lot of younger men, right? Let's say a 25-year-old comes into me or a 30-year-old, whatever, and they're pretty healthy. Like they're exercising, they're dieting, they're taking their supplements, whatever. And their testosterone levels aren't great, but like they're still producing, like testes are still working. They can be okay. Like the testosterone level can be okay. There's always another option other than testosterone. So we can do things like HCG and Clomid and try and jumpstart your body's own production of testosterone, right? So
is that, because I know Clomid, it will shut off the estrogen, right?
Clomid is a SERM, so it's a selective estrogen receptor modulator. So what that means is the feedback that shuts down the signal to the testes isn't actually the testosterone. It's the estradiol that comes from the testosterone that signals back to the brain to kick the signal off to the testes.
Right.
So Clomid as a SERM blocks that estrogen receptor. So as the estradiol level from the testosterone comes up, right, the testosterone's coming up, so estradiol's coming up with it. When the estradiol feeds back to the brain to try and get the signal to cut off, the receptor's blocked. So it can't register that the signal, like it doesn't shut off the signal because it can't register that it's there, right?
Right.
So Clomid essentially helps your body kick out more luteinizing hormone, so more signal to the testes. And then HCG acts as a luteinizing hormone analog in the testes themselves. So it acts as the signal and directly hits the Leydig cells and says, hey guys, make testosterone. And then the Clomid tells the brain to continue to send signal. So when we use Clomid and HCG, we're hitting both ends of the pathway.
And then HCG is pregnant women's pee-pee.
Well,
extract.
It's a hormone. It is a hormone. So it's what goes up in our like blood that we test for in pregnancy. Yes.
But don't they extract it from urine though?
It can be synthetically made as well.
Can it?
Mm-hmm.
Man, all those guys that like to be pissed on.
So you don't always, because people come into me, right? They're like, well, I don't want to do testosterone. And if you're younger and I can get your body to like reboot its own function, it's kind of like jump starting a battery, right? So in younger guys, generally under the age of like 40 to 45 that are relatively healthy, if testosterone function isn't fantastic, we can try to just like jump start the system. Say, hey, let's use HCG and Clomid and see if we can get your body to reboot.
So what scenario would you use HCG and testosterone at the same time? That seems very deadly.
In any male who still wants to have children. So 5 years ago, the consensus was if you were essentially under the age of 35, didn't have kids and wanted them, we actually wouldn't put you on testosterone unless you went and did like a semen analysis, banked your sperm, did all the things, because there was this potential risk for infertility with testosterone because we are shutting the body's signal of testosterone down, right? The new research has shown that if we are using testosterone in conjunction with HCG and a man is fertile to begin with, so that's always the kicker. If you're infertile to begin with, then it doesn't necessarily matter what I do. I can't make you fertile.
God didn't give you the gift.
Yeah. So if you are a male that's fertile to begin with and you want to have kids, but you also want to be on testosterone, then we have to keep you on test and HCG at the same time, because the HCG is what's directly hitting the cells in the testes. So it essentially keeps the door like being knocked on. So the cells decide not to shut down.
Yeah, we got thermostats and heaters and doors and
I try to use so many analogies like when I do patients'
perfect.
lab reviews because like...
Well, no, it's perfect because you're using it at the lowest common form that people understand.
Yeah, it's trying to break things down to be like, how can I make this, like, it's complex, but how do I like simplify it
with you?
Yeah, it's like, how do I simplify it? This is a lot of the way I went through PA school though, like even try to get my own brain, right? To like be like, how can I break this down to not just memorize this, but to like make it make sense?
So your journey on your medical deal, you said you wanted to be a doctor at some point, but then because you're a nurse practitioner, correct?
I'm a PA, I'm a physician assistant.
Okay. What led you down that route except for having a kid?
My car accident.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So I was in surgery for 9 hours, right, to like put my legs back together. When I came out of surgery, they always come and check on you, like once you get up to your room. So I had a team of like 5 different doctors, like putting my knee and ankle back together. And it was the orthopedic trauma surgeon that walked in to like do my like little synopsis of what had just happened. And I just remember like, so I came out of surgery, like my knee has a 9-inch gash on it, and I'm in a CPM machine. It's like a machine that's going to start like moving your leg for you to keep the knee active. And then my ankle's in an X-fix. So they couldn't even, like the way my ankle was broken, they couldn't put it in like a cast. It was just metal rods like drilled through my heel into the top of my toe.
So do you beep
into my shin.
Do you beep going through TSA?
No, but I do have a lot of metal in my body. So I've got a cadavered bone, 2 plates and like 20 pins holding my ankle together. And then I've got
you're like Iron Woman.
Yeah, I've got my patellar tendon they couldn't save. So my patellar tendon is a cable. And then I've got a bolt like holding my IT band like to be locked in place because I basically blew my knee out of my leg. So I detached my upper and lower leg from each other, severed everything. And then I shattered my talus into like 70 pieces. So my foot went all the way around plus some. So I tried to tear my like foot from my lower leg. So there's a lot of shit like holding me together. But being 23 and coming out of surgery and like he just walked in, granted I get like long day, tired, like just spent 9 hours putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. And he just kind of looked at me and said, listen, this is what we did. This is what happened. We still don't know if you're going to keep your foot. It's like touch or go. We don't know if the blood supply is going to come back. So we may still amputate it. We'll come back in tomorrow morning and check on you. And like walked out. And I'm like, okay, what in the, like, I work in medicine. I've worked like primary care. I've worked in derm. I've worked with patients directly. I worked in nursing homes. Like I understand a whole lot. Like this is like what I plan to go into. I was in such shock of like, how do you just come in and like say this to a girl that's like 23 years old, was just life flighted here, and like just be like, cool, like we may cut your foot off. Have a great night. We're gonna come see you in the morning.
See, I would have went club foot. That opens up so much more doors in life.
So like, so many like benefits, right?
Think of like a scary movie with the dude's hand, but it's your foot. You're just like,
no. I mean, honestly, like
knowing you'd be like the bionic woman.
I just like remember sitting there being like, what? Like,
no, that would freak me the fuck out.
Right. And my family's like, what the hell just happened? My brother had already punched holes up and down like the halls of IMC. Like it was just not good. So
how did the car accident happen?
A lady was turning left out of a neighborhood and didn't see me. Like, so I was driving straight. She was turning left, just didn't see me. And she pulled in front of me and I T-boned her.
What kind of car was it?
A Civic.
98.
No, this had to have been, no.
The year of the car is 98. No?
No.
95. Was it boxy?
No, it was like a 2000 something.
Was it an SI?
Mm-mm.
No.
It did like just crush like a can though. I mean, it was like, it was bad. Like the steering console broke, like the whole thing. It was not good.
So people love Teslas. Teslas are the Civics of the EV world. They're very, like the lower models are very poorly made.
Yeah. I mean, this Civic, like I was only doing 35. And so for the amount of damage that happened.
Did that lady live though?
Oh yeah. She was fine. Like her car was like barely anything.
Really?
Yeah.
And
wow. She was super sweet. She just like, she was a mom, tired, had just dropped her kids off at school, like just wasn't paying attention. It's not like she wasn't being malicious. She wasn't doing anything wrong. Like, so even when we were going after like settlement stuff, right? Like my attorney is like, do you want us to check like her assets and this, that, and the other? And I was like, no, like just anyone could have done this.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's insurances in place, like for a reason. Like I'm not going to go destroy some lady's life because she made a mistake. Like she wasn't drunk. She wasn't like,
well, she's probably already emotionally fucked up that
exactly.
She caused all this.
Like she just turned in front of me. Like
right.
So
that's like big of you to not do that.
I'm just a big believer in karma. Like I'm not gonna, like there were 3 insurances in place to like take care of this. My medical bills were covered. Like things like the thought of like going after someone, like things that they had worked for, right? Their livelihood, their home, they had kids. Like I'm not that person.
That's
like,
good.
No, but it was actually, so it was the PA's, that would come in and round on me and check on me throughout my car accident.
Oh, okay.
That would like sit and talk to me, explain things to me, like tell me, listen, like you're young, you're healthy. Like, yes, your ankle is one of the worst we've ever seen. And like these images will be taken to conferences after conferences because this is a severe, like.
What would you have done if you woke up and there was like a Samoan foot where your foot was?
Oh God. Like they didn't even match the color. Like
no,
they just,
no, they're just like, hey, blood type, here you go.
The perfectionist in me would be like, you're gonna have to fucking fix that.
And then what if you got gout just in that one foot?
Oh my God. I'm like, you put a defective foot on
because
me.
like genetically, you know, the Polynesian culture, they eat a lot of meat, they get gout. So imagine you got gout in that foot.
It might be better than what I've been left with at this point. No.
Are your knees like all scarred up and everything?
So my knee has a pretty giant like scar on it, which is the surgeon actually that put me back together again. He's fantastic. And he, even though like initially it was not the best like bedside manner, I actually ran into him even like during my PA rotations for like general surgery and stuff. And
like, here's a dick pic.
Oh my God, no. Oh my God. I wasn't doing hormones at that time. So right, I'm just in school.
You're all, damn it, Brian.
He's been a big cheerleader for me. Like there was no thought ever of me like wearing high heels again. Like one of my post-operative appointments, even down the road, I remember he was like, listen, it's just not going to work for you. Like you're not going to wear heels. It's never going to happen. Like your foot's not going to work that way. And oddly enough, heels are actually the most comfortable thing for me to wear.
Really?
So I limp much more, or you can like definitely tell I'm in pain when I'm flat-footed.
Does it hurt your hip at the end of the day too because you're off?
No, the only thing that ever really hurts is just like, so my ankle is in pain all day long. Like the first step I take in the morning until the last step I take at night is like, it's always painful. It's just on the scale changes. So
the higher the hill, the more it doesn't hurt.
Until I go too high on a hill.
What's your longest hill?
5 inches. I can't go much higher than that.
For all the creeps, I'm going to ask, do you have stripper hills? 5 inches is a stripper hill.
Yeah.
I mean, in my eyes.
I guess it'd be considered stripper hills.
I mean, if 5 inches is the average penis size, so.
I think they'd be considered stripper hills. They all like their platform.
Are they?
So, but they're not stripper hills. Can we just like clarify? Because I've already been asked if like the amount of times that I go to Vegas, because I travel to Vegas like frequently, and it's usually like a Thursday through a Sunday or a Friday through a Monday. So I've already been asked if I'm taking the stripper flight to Vegas. So I may have stripper hills.
Is there really a stripper flight?
Yes. Apparently there's one where you just like.
Is it Southwest or Delta? I need to know these details.
I think it's Southwest.
Science experiment just to see.
Apparently there's like, you just take like a little carry on and like go down to like work the weekend. That is not what I'm doing. The amount of times I'm traveling to Vegas.
Your family down there, right?
Both of my brothers are down there and my niece and my nephew. So that's why I'm going. And I do have stripper hills, but not for stripping.
How weird would it be? You ever been on a United flight where the seats are facing each other?
No.
Never?
No.
Lee, have you been on one of those planes?
I have not.
It's the creepiest thing ever.
I don't want to face somebody while I'm flying.
I know. It's like looking.
You're like sitting backwards, like.
So it's like you have one row that sits this way and the other row that sits this way. So you're having a face off.
Why?
That's weird.
Why? Why would they?
I didn't know they had that.
I don't know. It's a weird thinking from when they used to make the older planes. They don't do it now. I've just been on flights. Like I took a flight from here to Chicago because O'Hare is a United hub. And on the way, it was the way back. So from Chicago to Salt Lake, I had to sit and stare at people.
Mm-mm. That's creepy.
It was weird.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Especially
if the person's ugly, you're like, I gotta look at this all fucking day.
Like, no, I'd rather just. I mean, I don't like people in my personal space anyway. So like having someone have to like directly look at me the whole flight.
Well, that's given. You don't even like spending time with other people.
I love spending time with other people, just the right people.
No, I'm joking. So what's down the line for you? You gonna open up multiple clinics or?
Oh, so that is like
the dream.
That was the goal. at one point, right? Or the thought process at one point. And now I think I'm kind of shifting. So my ultimate goal is to be able to help as many people as I possibly can. And sadly, opening up like physical clinics to do that, I don't necessarily think is the best way.
What about in-home care?
That's actually how this started. Is like initially I was going to people to do.
Guys, she's not going to come to your house. Fucking weirdos.
Yeah, like initially that's how this started. But
you need a bodyguard.
I do have a gun.
Good for you. What kind?
I just have a little 9mm.
Glock, Smith & Wesson.
No.
Sig Sauer.
No, it's one that my brother bought me.
Is it a Chinese one? Carbon
It starts
fiber?
with a K. Why can't I think of the name?
Oh, what is it?
Why can't I think of the name? I just had
With a K. Not 3 Ks, just 1 K.
I just had a brain cramp. Not a K. It starts with an R. It's a Ruger.
Ruger.
Oh my hell.
Okay.
Like, I'm like,
That's a great gun.
my brain's been going all day long. I'm like, why can't I think of this?
You're
That's
like-
what it starts with.
It starts with a K. I
I'm
think it's Ruger.
Literally, like, I can like see the box in my head, and I'm like trying to like go through the letters. Anyway, it's a Ruger. So yes, I do have a gun, but I don't go to people's homes anymore. I think the way I'll be able to make like the biggest impact, aside from like my clinic that I have locally here, is going to be trying to reach people more through like a social media platform.
Okay.
In the sense of, if I can find a way to create enough content to put out like bits and pieces of information on just overall health and wellness, right? Because people don't know what they don't know, and we're not taught these things in school, and people don't talk about them. Other doctors don't talk about them. So if I can find a way to create content in a manner that I can put out just info to get people like sparked.
If you need a place to do it, you can do it here.
Yeah, see, so stuff like this.
See?
I joked
by
about
you coming on the podcast has now led to me getting boners back and you having a place to
Listen.
film.
I'm just here to make everybody have great boners, all right? From a medical standpoint,
Man, I've had a great boner in a while.
like from a medical standpoint. But I do want to try and do that, right? I want to try and get to as many people as possible and then be able to direct them where they need to go. So I'm not obviously the only one who does what I do. I have a network of other providers that are trained the same way that I am in locations nationwide. So if someone's able to reach out and be like, I'm really interested in this, but I'm in North Carolina or something, I can be like, hey, here's this provider like closest to you, because I can't take on any more management. Like at some point, I don't know what that point is, but I will get to the point that I can't take on any more patients. But my goal is to try to provide like a platform, some sort of arena where I can at least just get education out to people so that they can be an advocate for their own healthcare and find
I have a good
an avenue
idea.
to go. You have a good idea?
I do.
Well, I thought about doing an educational OnlyFans platform.
That's what I was gonna say. Charge $15.99.
I know. I thought about doing it. My son won't let me do it until he graduates high school.
Why, you're Stifler's mom. That shouldn't be an issue.
He's like, Mom, listen, I have like gotten comments about you since I was 5. Like, I'm very used to it. Like, everyone talks about that you're pretty, the boys, the girls, like everybody. Like, I love that you're pretty. I have no problem with it. It's great. He's like, but when this reel happened and I already had to like deal with shit, he's like, the last thing that I want this football season is to have to deal with your mom has an OnlyFans page. Like,
I feel like he is looking at this the wrong way. I feel like if he told people that you had an OnlyFans page where their imagination would start to run wild, they're probably thinking like, maybe she'll wrap her legs around me one day. And then to subscribe and it's all medical stuff.
I mean, I do personally think that that platform is where it's largely men,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Not saying there's not women on it. Like every time I say things like this, I get messages like,
Well, now we don't know.
there is women. I'm like,
But we don't know if they're men or women anymore.
I mean, that's true. Or furries or whatever.
You know, that started as those fucking ladyboys in the Philippines. They ruined it for everyone.
It really is true. And like, I don't care what you choose and what you do, but like,
I don't care either. I just
Damn
like,
it,
I like
like-
to joke about it though.
I'm like, can we at least just like make another category when it comes to sports and like keep bathrooms the same? Because I'm sorry, but as a girl, I get a little weirded out when like you could be a dude and just be like, well, I identify as a female, so I'm going to come in here where I'm like, I don't feel safe.
Will you ask your son to start identifying as a girl and play on the girls' basketball team?
Oh my God.
And you can tell him it all started when the real happened and he's emotionally damaged because
now he's look at what you guys have done
it's
to him.
all you fuckers' fault for having an opinion.
It's no.
Don't do that.
But I will.
But I like your idea, though. I really do.
I really do think that that's like the platform that's going to be like my largest outreach. It would be done in a very like respectful, like tactful, still sexy, classy way. And it would be a place where I can like provide content, give like health information. I just want to be able to reach as many people as possible. And while I love treating patients face to face, I'm only one person and there's only like.
Right. If you need help, camera equipment, like what we used, because we've gone through like.
Casting couch.
Yeah, don't go yellow. It's trademarked. But no, like if you need help in like, a direction with equipment and stuff, let us know.
Okay.
Because we literally started off with that camera and our 2 iPhones, and now it's turned into what you see. So,
which is awesome.
Yeah. So we've made a lot of. I wouldn't say we've made mistakes. We've encountered a lot of issues that we've had to circumvent. So.
Yeah, it's not as easy. I think a lot of people think it's easy to just start a podcast. I don't know that people actually realize like what goes into making it run and work.
This is what I would tell you. There's a website that will broadcast the audio stuff to all the major platforms. That's where we started at. And then we went from literally the 2 iPhones and the memory cards. And then after the guest would leave, I'd be here for like 2 or 3 hours, transferring the files over onto a main card and then giving that to our audio video guy. And it would take a week to put the whole episode together. So then we jumped to the computer and we were using a software called OBS, which is an open software. That's what all the gamers are using. So if it's 1 camera and 1 computer, you're great. When you go 3 or more, that system is fucking bullshit. So then we switched to this Magic Box. So this Magic Box that we bought, and yes, it's really called Magic Box.
Not just like.
Or no, Black Magic, sorry.
Black. So we don't have the Black Magic Box.
Whoa, that sounds a little weird. Well, no. So then we had to. So basically you could run all the HDMI stuff to the back of the box, and in theory, how it works is it records all 3 streams on 3 different files. So this is recording the entire time, everything that I'm saying. That one's yours, and then that's the main. And then Lee over there, he does what we call the camera switching. So every time I talk, he hits a button which will activate this camera. And then every time you talk, he'll do that one, or he'll do the wide angle, and it records a whole other file that does all the switching too. So if we fuck something up during switching, we can pull footage from the other 3 files and fill it in.
Way more complicated than what I do.
It is.
Yeah, sounds like.
But what I'm saying is like
more complicated than my career.
What I'm saying is like if you go down the route that you want to go and you're running into like issues, like we have people that can help you.
Yeah, because I don't know how to do any of this. Everything is just like little stories on my iPhone. Because that's like legit. I may be really medically smart. Anything else? Like if my laptop, my phone, something's not working, I honestly hand it to Bricks and I'm like, will you fix this? He's like, how are you so smart and not smart at the same time?
So be honest, if he asked you to get files out of a computer, would you like try to open the computer?
I probably would.
Like on Zoolander?
Like, how does this open? Like, there's not a place for like a floppy disk anymore. There's like.
You're like, I don't get it.
I know enough, but I definitely do like.
Well, you know how to use text because I can confirm that. You're good there.
Text.
Remember the old days when you used to have to like,
T9?
Yep.
Oh yeah. First like Nokias.
Yeah.
Like Snake and stuff on them.
Oh yeah, when you're pooping.
When you're moving.
Push,
That's exactly like where it took me back to. Yeah.
pushing a snake out as you're playing
Like,
Snake.
That's, yes.
And then text messages were like 20 cents a message.
Oh God. Like kids don't even know what it's like these days.
Oh, and then you used to be able to like record or type in the numbers for like the ringtones.
Oh yeah.
So I used to do like Funky Town.
Oh yeah. Sometimes I wish I could go back to.
We thought that was the coolest shit ever.
I know. And now look at us with like little computers walking around in our hands all day long. It's like a blessing and a curse. I love it and hate it at the same time.
I do too. That's why Lee does all the camera stuff. And then we have a whole other guy that does all the technical stuff. And it works out. We're a great team.
Yeah. See, if I do decide to go down this route, which apparently is going to have to be after my kid graduates, it's like the one.
Or does it?
It is like the one ask that he has asked. Like that kid does not ask for very much from me.
He's like, Mom, I want a Porsche. You're like, no, I'm going to start an OnlyFans.
I mean, he does like, he does not ask for very much. Sneakers was like the main ask I get.
Got a
from
guy
him.
for those too.
Oh, that kid has,
See?
kid has an impressive sneaker collection at 17.
Takes after his mom.
No, my brother started this.
Really?
My middle brother is like, he is very high maintenance. Like I may be high maintenance. He is very, very high maintenance.
Is he metrosexual? Mm-hmm. Okay. We were just talking about that earlier.
Oh yeah.
I
And
told my dad he was metrosexual and he wanted to fight me.
yeah, my middle brother, like the middle one of us, absolutely. And like he'll fully admit it. But he started this like sneaker journey with bricks. I just have been.
Well, women like shoes. Like, let's call
Oh,
spade
I
a
love
spade.
shoes. But like Brixton he has way more expensive shoes than I do.
Really?
That kid's got some sneakers that are,
He's rocking like the $1,000 Kanye's.
yeah, it's like the Off-Whites and Travis Scott's and like,
Oh, look at you.
yeah, that he's not hurting for designer clothes. Let's just put it that way. And it is not because of me. This is my brother's fault. So we're going to blame him.
So I do have one final question, and this was the curveball that I was going to throw at
Oh
you.
God.
No. It's actually really simple. Nothing sexual.
Okay.
Because I was trying to get you like comfortable to be able to open up and have this discussion. And it just kind of took off, and I've been holding on to this for a minute. What is your favorite guilty pleasure?
My favorite guilty pleasure? Honestly, probably sitting in the bathtub with a glass of wine and a thing of ice cream.
Shut up. Mine too.
No way.
No.
Have you been stalking me?
No.
Peeking in my window at night? Is that what's going on?
Hey, I'm not one for the visuals, but I will find you.
God, Wedding Crashers. I love that movie.
Mine is Disney movies.
Like what Disney movies?
Well, due to a very, very tough 2014 with my mom and divorce and grandma dying, there are times I feel like I'm dead inside, where I should actually feel bad or cry, and I don't. But those fucking Disney movies make me cry. Like Frozen.
Oh.
I love Frozen. I love Frozen 2. I love like The Little Mermaid, the old shit. I know Frozen's not old, but the old shit is the good shit.
Oh, for sure. Like I grew up on Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella and
So when I want to feel human,
Aladdin,
yeah.
Lion King, like those are like,
Yeah, so when I want to feel human,
oh, I love this.
I'll watch a Disney movie.
I love those feel-good movies are like some of the best.
Right.
Like they need to make more movies like that these days.
Yeah, they're doing that whole. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I really like the Disney movies were always like my absolute favorite growing up. I had like the whole Disney made a book at one point, this like red cover book that you could buy, I think at Disneyland. And it was like each story, right? Like basically like the Cliff Notes version of it, they put in one giant big red book. So you'd have like everything, like all the Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, like Tarzan, like everything in this like little snippet. And it was like my favorite thing before bed to like pull this book, and I think I read it until like the cover started wearing off. Between that or like throwing Disney movies on when I was little, it's like my jam.
See, we did have digital babysitters. They were just VHS tapes.
Yes. We just couldn't like have them in our hands in the car at all points, like stay entertained.
Lee, I'm going to ask you that same question. What's your favorite guilty pleasure? Besides curb stomping a motherfucker.
I'm a Swiftie.
Are you?
Swiftie?
That's why I'm always sticking up for Taylor.
That's why you got mad at me regarding me thinking it's a fake relationship.
I wasn't mad. I'm just.
Well, you're like, she's super talented.
You
I'm
just
like,
can't disrespect Taylor, in my opinion.
I love that you're a Swiftie.
She's a genius.
Are you a Swiftie?
I actually love Taylor Swift. I think that whole thing, right? Like her, Travis Kelce, the whole like.
I think it's planted. I don't think it's real.
I don't know. So maybe this is because what I went through with this reel with Brixton, right? Like none of us know what we don't know. And like they seem genuinely happy. And the way I look at their situation, like she's taking heat and like getting blasted for just like showing up at her boyfriend's football games and like supporting him, right? Like,
right. Why are people mad that they're showing her on TV? Like,
that's what I mean. Like,
get over it.
It's 90 seconds of a football.
And it was the most televised Super Bowl of all time.
Lee, when
you don't think Taylor Swift had something to do with that?
Lee, when your team is losing to the Chiefs, the last thing you want to look at is Taylor Swift in the fucking box.
Well, luckily, I don't like the 49ers, so.
Well, I'm saying when the Ravens played the Chiefs. Oh, I didn't like looking at that because I was already mad.
My Dolphins lost to the same Chiefs. So
Chiefs.
I just think like I don't know. I think she's like taking, like I took a lot of heat for a reel with my kid, just like embracing him. And she's taking a shit ton of heat for just like showing up.
She's super resilient. She is super talented. And I get the draw. It's just not my cup of tea. So I don't understand.
You have to respect it.
I do, though.
And I think
that's the closest thing we got to Michael Jackson.
I mean,
but she's white. White Mike or black Mike?
Both of them.
Those are two separate people.
Either one.
Two separate people.
No, I agree. I do think she does. From stuff I've read on her, she does really great things for like communities, even communities that she goes and just plays in that aren't like her home community. Like she gives back a ton. And I think it hits me close to home when I was seeing all this stuff of her just getting like attacked because I was attacked.
She takes it in stride.
Like it's one of those things where it's like, what are we? So this is always like my biggest point with people is like, what are we teaching our children? Because children truly just like absorb and emulate whatever they see somebody else doing, right? So if, let's say, you know, a 10-year-old little girl is sitting around listening to adults bitch about Taylor Swift being on TV during football games and like how ridiculous it is and like we shouldn't be showing her and why is she there and like her and Travis, blah, blah, blah. Like, what are we teaching this little girl to like, are we teaching her not to like show up and support the people that she cares about? Are we teaching her to make herself smaller, to make others feel better about themselves? Like, what are we projecting that we don't even realize that like kids are sucking up? Like, my kid is resilient as fuck. Like, that kid took a lot of heat and had to deal with a lot of shit, all from just like picking his mom up and hugging her. And like any other kid, I dare say, probably would have broke. Like that, I checked in with him all the time. Like, are you doing okay? Are you doing okay? And he's like, Mom.
Was he getting shit from other kids in the school too? Not
from his school directly because they know me, right? Like
Brighton's always been a good community.
It's a great community. And so if anything, those kids also had my back. The teachers had my back. Like, but from people outside of that, I can't even say so much in Utah because I have a friend that coaches at West and like the reel got brought up at like one of his football practices. And he was like, listen, like that's my girl. Know her. You guys don't know her. You don't know what she's been through. Her and her kid are super close. Like in a very healthy way, their relationship is remarkable. No one gets to say anything. And they were like, yes, coach, got it. Like,
and she's going to start an OnlyFans.
Like, so I just like, I have the soft spot in my heart for like Taylor Swift. Cause I'm like, I went through this on like the smallest scale comparative to what she's going through.
She gets it daily.
And I'm super strong. I don't think a lot of other women could have taken the amount of heat that I took in the comments that I received, and like actually just continued
the fucking year you had.
Yeah, just to continue like go about their way, right?
Like from the funeral to the real.
Yeah, like it was a lot.
That's a lot of shit.
It's a lot. If you knew the whole story of my life, one day I'll write a book. It's 10 times more than that. And so I've learned to like take a whole lot of heat, and I can do it just fine. I had friends tell me that like had this been happening to them, they definitely likely would have hurt themselves. Like, so I just see her taking so much disrespect and like judgment and hate all for just showing up to a football game to support her boyfriend, that I'm like, when did we become such a judgmental, miserable society that we have to take somebody else's happiness and like try and rip it apart because what, we're jealous, we're mad, we're upset? Like that to me is the ultimate projection. Like you may not like it, but do you have to sit and focus on it?
Here's my honest opinion. If you grew up in the 70s and never got your ass kicked, which means your parents never disciplined you, which means you later on in life had kids in the 90s and you never disciplined them, you're part of the fucking problem.
I would fully agree with that. I don't think we do any disciplining of our children today. I mean, I see kids just act like little assholes all the time, and I'm like, it takes everything in me to like bite my tongue, be like, it's not my kid, it's not my problem.
Stay in your lane.
It's not stay in my lane, it's not my kid, it's not my problem. But God damn it, if that was my kid, I mean, he never would, because he was disciplined from a very young age.
So last question, because I see this all the time. Who is your favorite football team? Because you've put on a lot of different jerseys and you like to fly around.
So we are Broncos fans.
Okay. Which is Mr. Wright's favorite football team too.
Yes. So we were all Broncos fans. Bricks actually went to his like first NFL game with Trevor and I when he was two and a half, something like that. He was super young. So Brixton's just been like indoctrinated as a Broncos fan, which he's not entirely grateful for sometimes. So Broncos are like our team. So no matter like when he's wearing different jerseys and we're going to different states, we started this little tradition. Actually, it was the year before Trevor died.
Of going to NFL arenas.
Yeah. So we ended up, like, he obviously spent Thanksgiving and Christmas with his dad the same year that we did this. Like, he went with Trevor early, and then he and I went to games. So we ended up, so this would have been, Trevor, next month will be 2 years that he's been gone. So he died in 2022. So 2021, that November, December, we ended up going to Raiders games in Vegas for Thanksgiving and Christmas because my brothers live there. And then after Trevor died, Bricks asked me, he was like, Mom, rather than like staying home for holidays, I don't necessarily want to be here. Can we just do football games again? And I was like, sure, pick them. And so we've now just started this super fun tradition that I hope continues for as long as possible, even once he like leaves and goes to college, where he just picks a different NFL game for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we go.
You both would look really good in purple.
So we did go. He always picks, like, he will wear the jersey of the home team of the place that we're in, right?
That's what I gathered.
Unless, so when we did Christmas in LA, we did Rams and Broncos.
Okay.
But we wore Broncos stuff. So if the Broncos are playing, regardless of like where we're at,
your team,
we'll wear their stuff. Otherwise, he just wears the home jersey of whatever team we're in. Like when we did the Michigan-Ohio State game, I wanted to wear Ohio State stuff because he was wearing Michigan stuff, and he wouldn't let me.
I feel like that would have been a bigger controversy than the real.
I know. That's why he wouldn't let me.
People would be like, I get it. You're abusing your kid.
Yeah, he wouldn't let me. He was like, you're going to Michigan shit. We're on the first row. We're going to get on the field. You're not going in Ohio State. Like, we are not doing that. He's like, you attract enough attention as it is. You are not wearing OSU stuff.
He's like, Mom, put the girls away.
Someone's like,
put on a blue jersey.
It's like, fine. So, yeah, so we're Broncos fans, but anytime we go anywhere, it's the home team. And he just continues to pick this year. He's asked if we can do an international game, which I think would be fun.
Well, they got the Europe deal. You should really go to the soccer games though. Go check out like a Manchester United game.
If we can ever, so he and I, if we can ever do stuff where we can hit like multiple things in one time, right? Like we went to Michigan, we did Lions Packers, and then we went and did Michigan OSU. So if there are 2 things going on at once, we absolutely will. And I would like to try and plan more of those like that, just to give him those experiences.
That'd be cool.
So if I can arrange it for the same time frame, I just have to look at it and see. But we'll see what games we do this year. I don't know.
Well, Lee, do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, thank you for coming on, and
This has been a joy.
glad you survived your car accident, and
Thanks.
you know, you're here for a reason, you know,
I sure hope so.
to kick your knowledge to everybody.
No, it's a start and
Y'all
only
need to know this.
Just start an OnlyFans. Listen, if it's an OnlyFans, it's going to be very different than what people think.
It's going to be information. I hope that's,
It'll be like sexy, classy doctor OnlyFans.
you're like, let me take your temperature.
It's not going to be like, you're going to find me in lingerie and like bikinis and like nude stuff. Nope.
You're going to find me in Ohio State jerseys.
I mean, I've got 2 little brothers and a dad that would.
Yeah, you'd be in trouble. You'd be in trouble. Well, this has been a joy. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
You are officially the longest podcast we've done.
Well, shit, we should probably go then.
3 hours, 15 minutes.
Oh my God, we should go.
No, it's fine. But seriously, though, thank you. I am very happy you came on. You gave us a bunch of information. We were able to shoot the shit. Hopefully you feel much more relaxed now.
Yes.
No one will do it better than I do. I'll just tell you that right now.
No, I'll agree. I'm glad this was my first. Thanks for
You're
no longer a
welcome.
podcast virgin.
I know. I sent you that text. I was like, I don't know if she'll get that as being funny, but.
Cherry popped. There you go.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.